All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Open. Let me know if the audio is okay or if we need to make it a little bit better, but hopefully it should be good. It is September 13th, 5:49 a.m. or 8:49 a.m. If you are on the East Coast, or 7:49 a.m. if you are in the central part of the world, or probably closer to 4 p.m. if you are in the UK. Hello. It's been a heck of a weekend. It's been a pretty fun weekend. He's doing the walk of shame from Carp's house. Oh boy, guys, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, we got a market to open up. We got to talk about the markets. We got to talk about Nvidia. We got to talk about all the shit that happened yesterday in the markets that I didn't really get to pay that much attention to, but I saw this morning and I was like, what? How did that stuff happen? But also, we have to talk about AIPCON. It was a pretty fun experience, and I want to go deeper into it. I'm not muted. I shouldn't be muted. Yeah, no, I'm not muted. No, I'm not hungover. I did smoke my first cigar, though, last night ever. I have never smoked a cigar ever in my life, and I smoked a cigar, so that was cool. But no, there's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of emotions right now in terms of just like everything that happened this weekend. A lot to discuss. I'm sure you guys probably saw that carp video. There's a good backstory on that, so I'll talk about that and go into it. How hard did the nerds party? Oh, the nerds partied. The nerds definitely partied. But there's a lot to talk about, dude. I guess we'll get started with the AIPCon recap. It's been a hell of a weekend, or a hell of a week, basically. Palantir had AIPCon 5, and that's where I traveled to because I couldn't tell you guys where I was going, but that's where I was. And dude, there's like so many different ways to take it, and I'll update and do videos in the future to like really go deeper into it, but I think I think it was just, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it again was one of those events where you realize the culture of this company is different, and the culture of how they operate, what they do, how they do what they do is just, I don't know, man. It's just one of the most exciting companies on the planet. And I think a lot of you guys probably saw from Carp's video at AIPCon how he was talking, what he was saying. The excitement that he had. Carp basically, he was making jokes about it's the size of the product that matters. I mean, dude, like Carp was ecstatic all weekend. The entire company had a different energy, different vibe, different ethos to it. And the reason they had that different energy, different vibe, different ethos is because they got included into the S&P 500. And because they got included into the S&P 500, it's something that was such a monumentous occasion that no one expected them to do. This AIPCon was really different. So I've got a lot of interviews and customer interviews coming up. Basically, I was at the event. We did the pregame show. We did the halftime show. If you guys didn't see it, maybe we'll watch it together at the end of the stream, just for the people that didn't see it, or I'll repost the video. But that was really fun. And that was the new thing that we were doing at this AIPCon. Last time we did the halftime show. That was cool. This time we did like the pregame show. And so we had like two versions of these shows happening at once. And then we also had these customer interviews throughout the day. And basically I got to talk to a lot of people. And from talking to all those people, I got a better understanding of what Palantir is, what do they do, why they're working with Palantir, and like just a lot of content that I think you guys will enjoy for those that are, wanting to deepen the investment thesis and conviction with Palantir. And then this video happened. So for those that haven't seen it, this is here with I posted last night, and this was a pretty cool moment.
I'm here with Dr. Alex Carp, CEO of Palantir. Congratulations on getting to the S&P 500.
Fuck you.
I'm here with.
So this was a crazy moment. The backstory on this is that I was having a meeting with someone, and Carp walks into the room, and he just says that wasn't the first time I met him this weekend. I was doing an interview, and he actually bombed the interview because he was like walking upstairs where I was doing the interview. They had like this booth set up for me, and I think he's like 6'1" or 6'2". He's up there in terms of height, and he says, "Hi, thank you for being here," all this stuff, right? But I'm still doing the interview, so I can't really talk to him at the time. So then I don't see him for like hours. And then randomly he shows up into this room that I was in having a meeting with someone. And then I was like, we start talking and I was like, hey, do you want to take a picture? And he's like, yeah, let's go outside. And so we go outside of the room and he's like, let's do something with our hands to metaphorically represent the S&P 500. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know how we would do that. I was like, Dr. Karp, do you want to just take a video? And he's like, sure, I have to go. So let's be quick. And I was like, all right. And so that's how it happened. I didn't know he would say, fuck yeah. That was pretty funny. And that was pretty cool. It's very Karpish. No lawyers saw that video, nothing. He just did it. And he was like, all right, cool, let's go. And I posted it. So it's one of those things where it was really authentic, really in the moment. And, we just got the job done with that video. I'm happy we were able to do a video because pictures are one thing, but I posted pictures with him before, and I think people getting to see him in a more raw, natural state, not just in the like AIPCon conference mode, but like actually just like interacting with someone. That was really fun, and it was exciting. Karp and Elon are not scared to talk the truth. Yeah, it's like Elon would have done a video like that with someone because Elon doesn't care. And I think Karp is getting to the point where he doesn't care. For those that don't know, Karp's going to be on Bill Maher tonight, which is Bill Maher's show of real-time politics, which is like a show that's been on for 20 years. So that's going to be big. I'm going to be really interested to see that and watch that tonight. Overall, man, before we get into like the stock market and all this other stuff, I think I just think Palantir's brand is growing at a fundamentally different level. I think that more and more people care about the company. I think more and more people care about Alex Karp. I think more and more people are starting to recognize that, you guys probably saw that CNBC interview he did with Frank. By the way, I got to meet our boy, Frank Holland. Frank is awesome, man. I got to take a nice little selfie with him. And he's the guy who hosts the show on CNBC at 5 a.m. So there's me and Frank. That was fun. Frank was cool. Frank was really cool. I just think more and more people are going to start to care about Palantir and really, really dive deep into the company. Why is Karp getting profiled by the New York Times? Why is Karp going to Bill Maher? Why is AIPCon getting so much buzz? It's just like people care. People really, really care. And because people care, well, something happens when people care. And one of the things that happens is the stock goes up. I mean, we'll talk more about the stock in a second, but it's at 34.97 right now. I've been kind of gone from the markets for the past couple of days. Like I've been in it, but just like looking at it. And once I finish the AIPCon discussion, I'll get into like all my macro thoughts on what's happening. Yesterday it busted through 35. Unfortunately, we couldn't do the market open, but within the first 2 minutes, it busted through. And then I think it got to a top yesterday of 35.40. Yeah. At 12.35, 35.40, which is incredible, dude. Like what? 35.40? Like that's crazy, bro. And so the stock keeps pushing on, and I know some people hate the valuation. I get it. And I hate to say what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I said this after the last AIPCon. I'm saying it again. When you experience the Palantir culture in person, and there is a difference between the company and the stock, but you start to realize the stock is just a reflection of the company. And this is a company you just can't bet against. This right here by Pepega, 35, and we're still only getting started. Dude, the broader thesis of like the company is just getting started. OpenAI said they're raising at 150 billion yesterday. Are you kidding me? Oracle raises their guidance by another 3 billion. They want to do $104 billion in 5 years by 2029. Like, dude, like I get it. The valuation is not amazing. Not going to complain about that. And stock could take a 20, 30%, 40% just because of valuation. That could happen. And we got to be prepared for that as shareholders. But if there was ever a stock to DCA and just let this shit ride, given the quality of leadership by management and given the actual product, which comes down to simply ontology and chips, I think that Karp CNBC interview was so good. Those first 3 minutes when Frank is like, hey, like what is ontology? It is the most sophisticated way I've seen Karp explain LLMs being essentially a commodity. I mean, he described them as hydrocarbons coming out of the ground and how they need to be processed. And in order for them to be processed, you have to obviously have something like an ontology. And I think that description of it was special. And it was a special way to actually explain what the company does for people that don't understand it. So not saying valuation is amazing. I get it. Growth is not fully up there to justify valuation. But again, the culture of this company, and I have a lot of videos I'm going to be posting over the next couple of days. It's a different culture. They are truly just getting started. The ontology is something that most companies don't care about, don't think about deeply. And, Karp's not afraid to speak his mind. He's just not. And the company's not afraid to embrace people like me and give me a platform because they know how important it is to like engage with this community that's starting to form, and they're tapping into that. And for years they didn't, so that it's a real evolution by them. And it's just been really fun to see how things have played out and why it is happening the way it is. Shout out to Chad right here in the chat. Chad has been a big reason as well for getting me out to AIPCon and doing what we had to do. Unfortunately, Chad couldn't make it to AIPCon, but we missed him so much. One thing we did do is all of Chad's friends were at AIPCon, like his friends from like his old job that he worked at, and we just kept sending selfies to him and made sure that he had FOMO. He already had FOMO. I was like, Chad, I'm sorry, we're gonna give you some more FOMO right now. But I got to meet some of Chad's work colleagues that he's still friends with today, even though they don't work at Palantir, and they love that guy. They like really love that guy a lot. But also it's like they also say the same thing about Palantir in terms of how transformational it is for their enterprise as well. And so, dude, I just got to talk to a lot of people. I talked to someone who signed a pilot with Palantir 2 months ago, and I talked to people from BP that have obviously signed a 5-year extension. We've been working with them for 10 years. Like, I think one of the beautiful things about this AIPCon is I got to talk to so many different people. And I got to engage with so many different personalities on how they think about Palantir and where they think the future of Palantir is going. And again, dude, this one tweet, I don't know if you guys saw this one, but this tweet, I talked to some employee, I believe they're from DTN. You guys will see the interview in like a few days. They said, and I got this on video, bro. Like the fact that I got this on video is like crazy. Just did a customer interview and they told me using Palantir is like looking into the matrix. What? Looking into the matrix? Like, are you kidding me? Like what? Like, and then when he describes it, by the way, I did watch The Matrix. For those that said I didn't watch The Matrix, I actually did watch it. So I wasn't just nodding my head like, oh yeah, The Matrix. Like I did watch The Matrix. Hold on, guys. Let me do something real quick. We got some quick damage control. So apparently someone just tweeted some stupid crypto thing on my Twitter. Damn, someone got into my Twitter. If anyone gets a DM from me, please ignore it. I just deleted that tweet. I'm going to change my password right now. Thank you for letting me know that in the chat. That's crazy. How the fuck did they get into my Twitter? All right, so we're going to log out right now, ASAP. And then we're going to change the password on this one. Let's do that right now. Yeah, I got to do this right now. I have no idea how they're getting here. Damn, dude, how did they? I have 2-factor authentication. That's crazy. Amit, did you get hacked? Yeah, I got hacked. Well, I deleted that tweet. All right, so let's do this right now. Sorry, this had to randomly happen. Of course, this had to happen, though. We always have, fires. The bots on Twitter, though, are getting kind of crazy, and I'm really sad. Some people are like believing this Telegram trading account bot, and I'm like, all right, guys, we gotta really make sure people know that's not the case. All right, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I gotta address this right now, guys. That is crazy, bro. How the fuck did this happen? I need to log into something else right now. Fuck, dude, I've never gotten hacked on Twitter. That's like, these motherfuckers are coming for me. Are these the Russians? Like, fuck, dude. Okay, so I'm into the email that I need to be in correctly. All right, so yeah, if you get any DMs, please don't. Hanging out with all those tech nerds. Yeah, exactly. That's weird, though. I thought I did have 2-factor. I've always had 2-factor authentication on Twitter. Okay, so that tweet was deleted. Have you given anyone access before? No, dude. My Twitter is I don't know VAs. No one uses my Twitter ever. Give me 1 sec, guys. So yo. Oh, from that? Okay. So should I change my should I go into Twitter and change my password right now? And should I change the password for the email account associated with Twitter? Okay. All right. I'll do that now. Okay. Sounds good. Bye. Goodness gracious, bro. That was Chad. He was just helping me out right here. Fuck, guys. I'm sorry to do this live. I wanted to like talk more about Palantir, but that's like a big deal. Someone randomly tweets. There was some crypto coin too, dude. This is why crypto is fucking stupid. But okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Really quick, we're gonna change the password. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do that right now. That's the first thing we need to do. So let's change that password right now. Okay, that's done. 2-factor authentication app. Okay, link app. What bootleg hotel is this? It's not the best hotel, but it's a crap. They've taken over my grinder. Oh my god, I hate this. Security key. Let's open up a security key. Text message. Yeah, see, text message is there. That is definitely part of 2-factor authentication. Uber and Waymo have expanded their autonomous partnership. Okay, that's why Uber's up. All right. Give me 1 sec. I think we're changing this right now. And then we will keep going. Amid Wiser, Twitter tweeting about Mayo. I hate you guys so much. Damn, bro. They really got me today. They're like, you can't just go to AIPCon without getting a little issue. Okay, no. So that I think we're good. I think we're good. So 2FA is on now. There's no way anyone can log into Twitter. Well, let me test it right now. There's no way anyone can log into Twitter without my phone getting a text. Let me try that right now. I'm on Twitter. Let me try to log in. Let me see if my phone gets the text. And let's see if it gives me a notification. Yep. Okay, here we go. Now we have 2FA. There we go. All right, so that's good. Okay, I think we're good. Yes. So apparently I didn't have 2FA on Twitter. Yeah, I didn't have 2FA on Twitter. Okay, so we have 2FA on Twitter now. Hopefully that helps us resolve this situation. So now if anyone wants to log into my Twitter, they're going to have to get, I'm going to have to get a text message before they try to get to log into my shit. Blame CrowdStrike? Yes, blame CrowdStrike. Yeah, I guess 2FA wasn't on, dude. Damn. All right, guys, if you want to protect your shit, I guess you need 2FA to be on. But I never had 2FA on Twitter. I thought I did. I guess I didn't. All right, well, we dealt with that real quick. I guess this is just shit that happens as you begin to scale. I'm not logged in on Robinhood on my computer, so don't worry about that. Even if I'm on the hotel Wi-Fi, yeah, I'm not logged in on Robinhood. I'm usually not logged in on my desktop. Okay, cool. So we'll get back. For those that are just joining, we had a little emergency right live on the show where I saw someone tweeted a crypto scam from my phone, and I was like, oh, that's like not good. Yeah, if anyone gets DMs, people are seeing my DMs right now, just ignore it, and hopefully no one falls for this stuff. Okay, so the Shannon Sharp stuff was crazy, bro. If anyone saw the Shannon Sharp stuff, that was absolutely crazy. But yeah, so at the end of the day, AIPCon was crazy. I think it was a really, really exciting event. And I think Karp kind of proved that he was the guy that a lot of people have been, asking him to be in terms of putting up the growth, putting up the numbers, putting up the momentum. And I think AIPCon was just another way of him showing that he really can do what a lot of people thought, he was able to do. I just want to play one clip from AIPCon in the first 3 minutes where they ask him about the concept of like a ontology. We'll watch that real quick, and then we'll move on to a bunch of other news that we have going on. This other thing. Let me say real quick is someone said, so when Karp said we have the leader of our retail investor movement here. Was he talking about you? Yeah, he looked at me and he said that. That part was really humbling when he said that. It was like in the first 2 minutes of his opening AIP keynote. From my understanding, he knows a lot about me, and he keeps up with the content, and obviously he cares about like how Palantir is representing the public. So he keeps, engaging with like, updates and the content and all that stuff. So when he said that, it was pretty humbling, but at its core, dude, like, although I was really humbled when he said that, like the leader of a retail movement, I just, to me, this is like a retail movement, and I play a role, hopefully, in galvanizing attention and getting people to be excited and all this stuff. But I just never want to be like that one guy who's just there and he's above everyone else, because there's so many people, dude, like Arnie, Codestrap. I mean, there's so many people who in the early days were there, even if I'm a little bit better at speaking in front of the camera and being a daily consistent uploader. I think there's just so many people that came together to build this community. So it was really exciting. He looked right at my face when he said that. And I had a bunch of people next to me that were sitting there, and they were like, what the fuck did he just say that? And I was like, damn, that's crazy. He just said that. But yeah, it was fun, and it was just an exciting day. It was an exciting day all around, and it was a really, really incredible experience. All right, so I want to play those first 2 minutes of Karp talking about that ontology question, and then we'll move on from there, and we'll keep going.
AIP. That's going to include BT, a new customer, also AT&T, a longtime customer, talking for the first time. So a big day and also a big month. You're joining the S&P. Your company, previously kind of mysterious, private for about 17 years. Now you're going to be in the S&P. You're going to be added to millions of 401ks. How does that feel for you as a founder? What does that mean for the company?
Well, yeah, it's been a long ride. I've been at this together with other Palantirians for almost 20 years. And we believed that we could build a company that would make America and its allies stronger, better, more intelligent, more agile, wealthier. And we took a lot of positions that looked outside the norm. Some people said batshit crazy, like America is good, the West is good, we should fight for meritocracy. We can make industry in America dominant, not apologize for being the best and greatest country in the world, our allies around the world. Actually, the most radical thing we ever did was build software that actually was fully aligned with our customers, with our partners, whether they be military or commercial. The way you were told to build a software company was stay away from government at all costs, because that might help somebody. Build software that makes customers feel like they're being pleasured while they're being screwed. We never did that, and we stood by our values, and I'm really proud of Palantirians and our supporters, and it's an incredible ride.
Let's dig into the software. So we're here at AIPCon for your software, AIP. You've been on the record that right now only two things matter, chips and ontology, all right? So you don't make chips. What's ontology? You've been out talking about ontology.
This part I thought was really important.
Kind of preaching about it. How does it relate to enterprise customers and the use of AI?
So AI is a mysterious revolution. People basically have it wrong. They think all the values in the large language models. Large language models are like hydrocarbons in the ground. They need to be processed. If you're going to do something beyond chat, something that is crucial for the business, like bringing hydrocarbons out of the ground, or actually in the government context, monitoring troops, figuring out how to kill your adversary while staying alive, that raw knowledge has to be processed and put in your system, in the logic of your system, and in the security model of your system at the cost your system wants to pay for a particular kind of model. So long story short, that hydrocarbon-like LLM is essentially worthless to your business without the processing capabilities, right, both in the ontology and in Foundry. And we believed this 5 years ago. We figured this out, by the way, by doing work for the US government, some of that work is going to be presented today.
Right.
So if you want to really kill your adversary on the battlefield or change the economics of your business, you need a way of processing the raw resources.
So commercial customers, that's the growth engine of the company. It's doubled since you launched.
So that part I thought was really important. Right? When Karp basically says, hey, these hydrocarbons need processing and the processing comes from the ontology. That's the part that I thought was really interesting. And, the part that really mattered. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you guys I was going to AIPCon. I legit just was not allowed to tell anybody. So could only tell you guys the day the PR was announced. But it was a crazy couple of days because obviously Karp got the Bill Maher PR 3 hours before the AIPCon PR. Then the AIPCon PR happened. And then you get into AIPCon, right? And then it's just a jam-packed day of a ton of stuff going on. I got to meet CodeStrap as well. So that was really fun last night. I actually spent dinner last night with CodeStrap, and we got to talk about a lot of things. CodeStrap, again, one of these OGs of the community, really got to learn more about him, his perspectives, everything that he believes in. It was fun. It was a fun conversation because CodeStrap will give it to you direct. He does not care about what anyone thinks. So just getting to pick his brain on different ideas and thoughts and all this stuff, it was really cool. For those that were confused about why they had shoes on the display, the theme was boots on the ground. I know it was a little hard to get. I understand that. I also thought okay, are people really going to think that means boots on the ground? But that was the concept of it. And the theme of the show was basically customers are going all in on AIP and they're using it as a real platform to build everything off of. And the customers that I'm going to show, the customer interviews I'm going to show in the next couple of days, you're going to see a lot of those customers talk about how they're using it as an enterprise system. I mean, I talked to founders from Brazil of hotel chains that came just for AIPCon, and they were talking about why, they're using Foundry and AIP as this operating system and how they're using all the personalization and the aggregate complex data sets. There's just some really, really good stuff from customers that you don't typically hear from. And I think it'll give, a broader understanding of why Palantir is that exciting. They weren't boots. Well, that's the other thing. They weren't boots. It was not a Nike partnership. To my understanding, they don't have a Nike partnership. Yeah, I get why it was confusing. I told them, I was like, guys, this is kind of this is kind of confusing. I don't understand why exactly this represents boots on the ground that easily. But, it is what it is. It looked really cool, though. I think they had some OG Michael Jordan sneakers in there. So it looked pretty damn cool. Some were boots, correct. Some were boots. What was in the blue box? I think it was sneakers, ultimately, right? Sneakers were the boots on the ground. So I think that's what basically was in the blue box. The music was fire as well. What did your parents have to say? Dude, I mean, my parents are kind of getting used to this at this point. My mom was really happy. My dad was happy. But, my mom last night texted, hey, did you get to meet Karp? And then I sent her the video. And she's like, oh, that's crazy. It wasn't this, over crazy reaction or anything like it was months ago when I met him for the first time, because now they're kind of just, I mean, my mom still sent some stuff to India and all that stuff, but yeah, they kind of just all right, this is, the life he's starting to get into. And, it's, I don't know, dude, things are moving really fast, and trying to just stay in the moment and experience it. It's interesting because now it's becoming one of those things where this is my second time doing it, and there's a lot of nostalgia just even being in this area, talking to all these people, seeing all these familiar faces. It's legit a community. Sasha, I love Sasha so much. I mean, she's becoming my big sister. She's the reason why I even got out here to AIPCon. Sasha is the brains behind AIPCon. She's been at Palantir for 10 years, dude. She helped them go public with their communication of investor relations. This is who she is right here. And I forced her to do an interview with me. So I got to ask her all the juicy questions, but it's just really cool, dude. It's one of those things, again, where the one thing I will say, and we've been talking about this over the past couple of weeks, is that authenticity is what wins. And I think the reason, people have been asking, why does Karp want to do a video with you? Why does he want to shake your hand? Why does he want to talk to you? Why does he call you the leader of the retail investor movement and make that public statement in front of thousands of people? Where he doesn't need to do that, right? He doesn't, the typical Wall Street CEO would not say the leader of our retail movement is here, because people think that's cringe or whatever. That's referring to, or that's going too deep into retail investor movements. And you're not supposed to engage with them. And then on top of that, he doesn't need to give me the recognition. I mean, at the end of the day, he doesn't need to recognize me for the stock to go up or for the company to do better. They're going to keep executing whether I'm doing anything or not. I think, hopefully I play a good role in creating brand awareness about it. And I've been doing that for 3 years. And that's kind of just like how I've built my brand. But he doesn't need to acknowledge that. I think the reason he's doing that is because he genuinely gives a fuck. Like he actually gives a fuck. He's like, there's no one telling him in his ear, hey, go like do a video with a mitt. That happened. That was the most natural thing that happened. He was about to leave. He was in a hurry and he just like wanted to, have that moment happen. And I think that's the thing about it. It's like there was some guy on Twitter when I posted the video, he's like, hey, you should have asked Karp about like the egregious price to sales and how the revenue acceleration is not matching up to the valuation. And I was like, yes, I didn't comment this, but in my head, I was like, that's exactly what I should do. When I meet an S&P 500 CEO who built this company with his blood, sweat, and tears for the past 23 years, I should go up to him and say, hey, by the way, your stock's overvalued right now. Like, yeah, like it's like, I think people don't like, people talk about this stuff in abstract terms. These are real human beings that work their asses off to even have a chance to succeed. As Karp said in that AIPCon speech, he was like, we survived bankruptcy multiple times. And now they're in the S&P 500. So getting to congratulate him and just be with him in person, I think it was special to do. And I think the reason he wanted to engage is because, he knows that I've been covering the story for a long time. And one of the things I'll never forget, he told Chad at the last AIPCon when he didn't even know, like we were doing the halftime show and all this stuff, like he didn't know like how big of a production it was going to be, is that he said he was really happy that other people are finally telling their story, because for so long, no one wanted to tell their story. And if anyone did tell their story, it would be the Vice medias of the world that would manipulate it in such a egregious way that it was never an exciting story to tell. And it was always done in a negative light. So I think Karp, rewards people that actually were there when no one else was there. And because he's kept up with the journey, that's why it's been exciting, for him to embrace everything. And again, I think we're just getting started. This comment right here by Joe is the problem, I think, when a lot of people think of this stuff. So Joe says, don't work for free. If you have value, make sure they pay for it. We were talking about this the other day. It's not about the money. It's just not. And I think if you understand Palantir and you start to build your own brand, which I'm doing in like finance media, it's not about, I've done so many videos on Palantir. I deserve 100,000 shares of equity or stock-based comp because of. It's like, dude, when you want to ask for something more than you give, you start forgetting about the fact that you should be giving, and you should be giving it in a way that is so authentic that you don't even need to ask. And always focusing on the outcome, I think, is what fucks everything up. Like, this is the same thing with Palantir. I talked to a bunch of clients the other day or yesterday, and they didn't have a conversation about pricing. Like, they didn't have a conversation until they showed that bootcamp created value. It's not about the money. It's like, this is where people get so fucked up about this. It's not about having some type of form of compensation that says, okay, my value has been effectively adjudicated via this piece of sum of money. It's about, hey, what is the long-term game here? And the long-term game for me is building a brand that matters. And that video doing with Karp matters more than me than $1 billion. Like it's about how do you have sustainable long-term brand recognition, at least in the media business that I'm in, which is the media business. And to do that, you need to have relationships. You need to have someone like Robinhood CEO that wants to sit down and talk with you. You need to have someone like Karp that is willing to do a video with you. Like, you need to have these relationships to be able to get to this point. And, I think that's what I'm building. And I think that's the whole point of AIPCon. It's getting to the point where we can just continue building those relationships. As Abjit says right here, money can't buy brand. Dude, that's the biggest thing about it. Money cannot buy a brand. Having an authentic moment with Karp like that in that YouTube short, it's not about the money, dude. He's never asked, hey, how many Palantir shares do you have? How much, like, what's your cost base? Like, he doesn't give a fuck about that stuff. He doesn't care. Like, he cares that you believed in a story when no one believed, and when they were down in the dumps and everyone had written them off, you were one of the people, along with this massive retail community that we have, that cared. That's what Karp gives a fuck about. And, that's ultimately what matters. And you can't buy that. That's earned over time. Goodwill is earned over time. And, you need to work for it to be able to get to that point. Would you work for them as an employee in any capacity? No, because if I ever joined them as a company, like as a chief brand ambassador or whatever, I would never be able to be as free with my thoughts and my opinions. Like, I'm pretty objective when it comes to Palantir. Some people may say I'm biased, but I give the bear case all the time. I've given the bear case for the past couple of years. It's just, what do you want me to do? The stock's gone up and I'm more bullish than bearish. And so it looks like I'm biased because the stock is reflecting the bullishness. But it's not that I'm biased. It's just that they've executed against the thesis. And because they've executed, that's why things have, gone the way they've gone. So, yeah, dude, it's been fun. It's been exciting. And it's been pretty cool to see how this all played out. Amit would name his firstborn child Palantir. That would be funny, dude. Could you imagine? I'm like, your name is Palantir. And they like, what? I'm like, your name is Palantir. We're just going to call you Palantir every day. Did you bring the cowbell? No, I did not bring the cowbell. We got 6 minutes until the market open. All right, so let's finally talk about the market open, or the stock market, instead of just AIPCon recap. I'll talk more about it over the next couple of days. But this reversal in the market, I have no idea how this happened. All I know yesterday, first of all, 2 days ago, for Robinhood, like 2 days ago, I was just like, I was doing AIPCon rehearsals, and then randomly I look at my phone, and it's fucking like Robinhood's 2170, Palantir is like almost 35. This a couple of days ago, and I'm like, why is this happening? Like, how is this playing out? And I realized the CPI data was pretty good, so that's probably what helped it. But outside of the CPI data, I was like, okay, well, what's really going on here? And then yesterday at this Goldman conference, Jensen gets up and he says, hey, like, he says AI is a real thing. And like, I guess everyone forgot, but like when he came out at that Goldman conference that AI is a real thing. Look at Oracle, dude. It's up 7%. It's up 22% for the week. They've added like 50 billion of market cap in just this week. It's just, I mean, like, it's pretty damn incredible. And I think the market's realizing that AI is not a joke. We had our good friend Kris Patel on this channel a couple of days ago go bullish on Nvidia at like $110 or something. And it's like, that was a hell of a pivot from, his previous stance. But I think those Oracle numbers prove to him that Nvidia is real. And then the broader thesis around data centers and how large this is going to get, I think that also proved to him, that the AI thesis is real as well. So like, I think so many things have been compounding over the past couple of days. Hims right here at $16 in the pre-market. Robinhood right here at 2162 was up 5% yesterday. The NASDAQ at 473. The NASDAQ's almost closing in on that 480 level. Palantir 3496. Let's see if we test 2035 again today. Whatever Karp talked about on CNBC, I think it created even more clarity for people that didn't know what Palantir was. And so now, if they hate the valuation, that's fine. But for people that don't really care about the valuation and just want more exposure to AI, they might get it. The fact that OpenAI is raising at 150 billion is also kind of scaring me, because if OpenAI is raising at 150 billion, I mean, dude, like, that means Palantir at 80 billion. I'm not saying Palantir is cheap or anything. I'm just saying if there's that much demand for AI, then Palantir's enterprise AI applications are probably going to be in even more demand, I would argue, than pretty much every other AI use case. Again, at AIPCon, everything we got were use cases. I think that was the most used word at the conference. Use case, use case, use case. Google right here up 1%. What are the use cases? And I think those use cases, if they're propelled by AI, then that's where customers and investors are going to want to invest a little bit more. So if OpenAI completes a $150 billion round, by the way, the United States is potentially getting Saudis or allowing Nvidia to sell some of their chips to the Saudis, which should only be good for Nvidia. Nvidia, by the way, I mean, talk about a rebound, dude. They added 250 billion in market cap in one day yesterday. 119 up 2% yesterday, down a little bit in the pre-markets, hit 120 yesterday. Stock went from 102 to 120. DCAing throughout the entire way up or down has been the right idea, at least so far. And then you've got the Fed. Oh, did someone just send a $500 super chat? What is JM? You did not have to do this. I appreciate you, JM. Thank you for this. Dude, $500 is a lot of money. You did not have to send that super chat. That's like a lot of money. Thank you, JM. I really appreciate it. I probably spent $500 on Ubers and food over the past couple of days. So you basically helped make up everything that I spent while I was at AIPCon. So thank you, JM. Thank you. For those that are wondering, Palantir doesn't compensate any of this stuff. They don't pay for flights or hotels or nothing. This is all on my dime. So I appreciate it, JM. Means a lot. Thank you. I don't even think I've seen you comment in the chat before, JM. So if you're new here, if you've been around just watching, thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. $500 is a lot of money. Maybe we need to buy like 10 Palantir shares with it. That was it. That's about $350. Maybe we get our first shares in the 34 range with that money. But thank you, JM. I appreciate it. Market open in 40 seconds. So my point is the entire market is kind of pivoted. And now the Fed looks like they're definitely going to cut. It's so weird. September is supposed to be so bearish. And I know we still have some September left, but dude, we are closing in on some pretty high levels. Look at the S&P 500 right here at 559 on a month that is not supposed to be the best. I think when the Fed cuts rates, the market's going to get excited. I don't think they're going to get upset. And if unemployment continues to be okay, then, you know, maybe we end up having a little bit of a bull run. The other thing that's crazy to me is that, you know, Kamala was seen as the winner from the betting markets in the debate, and the markets are still up. So it's kind of going against that, you know, boogeyman narrative that, oh, if Kamala wins, markets are going to go down. At least for now, markets kind of don't care that much about it. They care more about Nvidia. They care more about AI. They care more about earnings, and they care more about future guidance in Q3. And so far, companies like Oracle are raising that guidance, which is very important. All right, 9:30 a.m. Friday, September 13th. Thank you everybody for being here. We don't have a cowbell, unfortunately, but the stock market is now open. Let's see what we're looking at. Robinhood right here, 21.84 on the day. So Robinhood opens up 1%. Palantir, $35 again, teetering on $34.98 and $35. So that's what we got on Palantir right here, $34.95. I mean, the fact that, again, we're even, you know, pressing 35 is super exciting for Palantir. Nvidia right here, 119. S&P 500 at 559 on the day. Even if I had the cowbell, I couldn't ring it because I'm sure the people in this hotel would get super upset about that. SoFi right here up 1.27%, 756. Enphase at 107. Bitcoin, 57,714. Bitcoin down a little bit on the day. Google at 156. Microsoft's a little down. Where's Apple? I haven't checked Apple all week. Apple, wow, is green. I mean, it's kind of flat from where it was on Monday, but still green. 222 on Apple, up 0.04% on the day. Robinhood 21.79. Palantir busting through 35 again right here at 35.04. Rocket Lab is up as well. Did Rocket Lab hit 7? Wow. Yeah, there you go. Rocket Lab up 2% at 7. Rocket Lab's at 7. All right, so we got Rocket Lab up today as well, along with Palantir. Let me check resistance on Palantir. Where are the levels at when it comes to Palantir? So, dude, if we normalize 35, that would be the craziest thing ever. My price target after Q2 earnings was 35 end of year. And I'm still sticking to that. I don't, you know, I'm not raising it to 40 or 45 or anything. I still think 35 is possible, but the way it's acting, it's like, I don't know, dude. If we have a crazy bull run, stocks can go higher, and they can have a lot of price discovery. And if people start normalizing the $36, $37 price for Palantir, even if the valuation maybe doesn't make sense at the moment, they'll buy. You know, that's what they're doing right now at this 34, 35 range. And that's why it's getting the market premium. But again, I also think while we acknowledging that, you know, it could be a little expensive, the reason they're getting the premium is because when Karp answered that question about what is an ontology, he answered it in a way that most CEOs can't answer. And I think that gets people at the end of the day to get excited to buy your stock. And that's why you get more momentum. 35.02 on Palantir right now. Robinhood at 21.94. So Robinhood's trying to get closer to that $22 level. We haven't seen 22 since the August 5th collapse. So that would be a nice reversal on Robinhood if they can manage to break $22 today. We'll see what happens. It is a Friday, so we'll see if the selling gets bad. But I think 2 Fridays ago, it was really good. Last Friday kind of sucked. It was one of the worst weeks for the stock market. So we'll see how the market reacts this Friday. Dow Jones up about 0.5%. IWM up 2%. Wow, small caps getting some love today. Small caps getting love along with the NASDAQ. NASDAQ goes down. Okay, so small caps going up while the NASDAQ goes down. That usually tends to happen. Airbnb is at 117. Carnival Cruise Line at 1709. Apple at 222. S&P 560 on the day. Nvidia down just a little bit right here at 118. Oracle up 7%, raising guidance by about $4 billion. So Oracle's up. And there's Palantir, 35.20. There you go. There's Palantir at 35.20. Where's Tesla as well? Tesla is slightly red, but it's at 229. Well, Tesla was at 235 last Friday before it collapsed. So Tesla right here trying to make its way. Yeah, there you go. Right back to 230. The 10/10 event is officially happening. That's like set in stone. So we're good to go on that. That'll be exciting. And we'll see how that plays out. Palantir 35.30. 35.30 on Palantir. Trying to make its way to that 52-week high at the 35.40 level as well. Him 1648, yep, up 4.17%, which is not bad. SMCI at 440, AMD at 152. SMCI down a little bit right now. AMD's up as well. Ally Bank, they had a tough week with the 17% drawdown from the delinquency stuff, but it seems like the market has kind of forgotten about that, at least for other companies. Bank of America at 39.05. Again, Buffett sold some more Bank of America this week. Broadcom at 165. This made a hell of a recovery. This was at 132, dude. So this recovered nicely. Elf at 118, Ulta 379, Robin at 21.89, Palantir 35.32. 35.32. There's no resistance on my end for Palantir until yeah, I mean, like really it's like 36.50. There's really not a big wall of like 40, 50,000 shares. It's kind of just like a slow grind up if it keeps getting the volume. 35.40. Well, there you go. New 52-week high. New 52-week high, 35.44. Boom. New 52-week high for Palantir. Robinhood as well, 22.02. Wow. So Robinhood just cracked as well. First time we're seeing Robinhood at these levels in over a month. So you got the hood cracking up, and you got Palantir following suit at 35.42. If we get out of the 35.50s and maybe touch 35.70, 36 potentially has a shot today. We would need some volume. It looks like we could break 35.50, but we got to see. We got to see if that could happen. Yeah, that was a surge. That was definitely a surge right there. Robotaxi leaked? No, I did not see the Robotaxi leak. Send me the video if there's a Robotaxi leak, because I have not seen that. Uber's up as well. Uber announced some partnership the other day or this morning with Waymo. Uber up 5.2% on the day. Nvidia's down. I mean, that makes sense. Nvidia had a really big run this week, so you would imagine people just like chill out a little bit with Nvidia. But that Jensen interview yesterday where he's just like, he's not saying anything that he hasn't said before. It's just like, for some reason yesterday, Wall Street like went goo goo gaga over AI, and they were like, "Oh yeah, AI is a thing." And every AI name, they just started buying it up. Just buy. It's outside of Adobe. Adobe had a tough day yesterday. They're down 10%. I don't really know why they're down 10%. They had a good earnings. I didn't look at the guidance. Maybe that's why. But the top and bottom they beat. I saw some quotes of the earnings, so I thought it was good. But I imagine guidance was not the best, and that's why they got hit a little bit. Yo, everyone's covered calls, I imagine, are also like getting hit as well. It's just funny, dude. Oh, there you go, 35.50. Like I was talking to a guy. There was a Palantir alumni that I've been friends with for the past couple of years. I finally got to meet him in person, and this dude has a decent amount of Palantir, obviously, because he's an alumni and he's stayed there for a long time. But he also likes playing in the stock market. He also likes, covered calls. And so if he's watching this right now, he'll know who he is. And he's just like, this fucking stock, it keeps going up. It's like, I have so much conviction, but like I needed to take a break. My covered calls are just getting destroyed. And it's just so funny, right? Because, when you do a covered call, technically you want to be bearish in the short term. But I think so far Palantir's proved, look at that at 35.60. So far it's proved that like covered calls are not safe, dude. It's funny. I had a couple friends on Monday being like, yo, I'm going to, sell the 35 covered call. And I was like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, dude, 35. There's no fucking way, dude. We'll be fine. And I'm like, dude, you might want to just not do that. They were like, no, I'm doing it. And now they have to roll it. I'm not saying the roll isn't going to be effective because maybe this thing comes back down to reality. But maybe the new reality is also that it's just going to be an expensive stock. 35.70. You know who this makes mad? This makes mad a lot of the FinTwits. People on FinTwit that hate Palantir. There's a section of financial Twitter, Robinhood right here, 2216, that legitimately can't stand Palantir because they think it's the most overvalued company in the world and they think there's like this massive cult. And they hate it, dude. They hate that it's going up. But they can't really say anything because it's like, it's not GameStop going up. It's not nonsense. There's like a real company. And if anyone says, Palantir is like, not a real company, you just sound stupid. So they can't say that, but they can complain about valuation all they want. And my thing is like, dude, theoretically, it was also expensive when it was like $21, but like the valuation is never the full story. There's a lot more that comes into buying a stock. Crossroads says you have to be very careful when a stock is in price discovery. Palantir very much is. Yep, I agree. The some of the covered calls though are paying crazy. Like for example, I think the like 48 covered call for January 2025. If we go to January 2025, Yeah, dude. Like the 45 covered call is still paying you $150. The 40 covered call is paying you $280. The 50 covered call is still paying you $86. Like the premiums on these covered calls are still pretty massive. And the price targets they have to get to for your shares to get called away is still a substantial amount. I mean, you got to see your shares legit go up another 40-50%. Could it happen? Yeah. But the fact that people are willing to pay so much, it also shows that the options liquidity is massive when it comes to Palantir. Nvidia just turned green, 119, up now 0.5% on the day. S&P 500 at 560 right now as well. Kevin says, I have 37 covered calls and I'm nervous. Well, my thing is, if you have covered calls in those high 30s, I think the roll is going to be effective because theoretically, I don't think Palantir goes to 45 or 50 by the end of the year. Could it happen? Sure. But if you have like a 35 covered call today, if you roll it out a month, I want to say in a month, maybe Palantir is 34, 33. It's not busting through 35. But if it, if we get a bull market and the election is not super volatile, and Fed cuts by 50 bips and the market's like, why do we have our money in money market funds? Why aren't we investing in companies like Palantir? Maybe this shit's at 37, 38 and that covered call is still under pressure. And then you might have to, give back the premium and some more to close out of it. So I really don't know what happens the next month, but I do know that it's just dangerous playing covered calls right now. But it could also be a super smart thing, right? If we have a massive collapse or even a 10%, 20% drawdown, those covered calls are going to print dramatically. So you got to do it at your own caution. But so far, the stock has proved covered calls are not the most exciting strategy because the premium is not worth the capital appreciation that you're missing out on, at least, in the short term. S&P 500 right here at 560, up 0.024% right now. Just roll it up to 50. Yeah, well, you could do that. You could also do that. I mean, dude, look, at the end of the day, it's starting to be a company that people really care about. Karp's going to go on Bill Maher today. Like he's going to introduce himself to even more people. Again, we made a video about this 3 weeks ago. It's called the compounding media thesis effect on Palantir. And it was a 28-minute video where I just talked about how I think the media is falling in love with Palantir from a perspective of they need something to cover and Palantir is interesting. And historically, the relationship they have had has always been hostile and it's been changing. And if that compounds and changes, like with Bill Maher tonight, I don't know how that's going to go, but I imagine whatever it's going to be something that generates attention. There's going to be think pieces about it, all that stuff. And it's Karp's first primetime show in a long time. I mean, he hasn't done primetime ever, from my understanding. Maybe like Charlie Rose back in the day, but he's not been on CNN well, he's done Fox, but it's not really, it's not like a Sean Hannity show or anything like that, or Anderson Cooper. So this is one of those things that's going to be exciting to see and, potentially has an impact as well. Nvidia right here at 119, Robinhood at 2206, up 2%. Robinhood does have their event coming up in a month, and I think that event they're going to show off some really cool products, and that's probably going to create some more momentum. Palantir holding 3550 right here, SoFi at 760, Enphase 109, Bitcoin trying to get back to 58,000, Tesla at 231. Tesla's up 1% on the day right now. Are you going to be able to stream it? No, but it will react to the video afterwards. I don't think I'll be able to stream it. If I can, I will. I think it's late night, though. His shows are late night, like 11 p.m. But I'll see if I can try to. If I can, then maybe I will. 2027 options come out and soon. You'll be able to roll out and up. Yeah, that's true. So for those that are interested in leaps, and if you think 2027 will be a bullish year, you will have to pay a hefty premium buying them 2.5 years out. But those options should be able to come up soon as well. Did you see that ASTS launched their satellites? I did not, but ASTS is up 4% on the day because it seems like they launched their satellites. Good to know. Uber at 7187. There was another one I was gonna mention. There's another name I was gonna mention. I'm forgetting right now on the spot, but there was another one that had a crazy reversal this week that I thought was really, really interesting. Affirm right here up 2.2%. Affirm back in the 40s right now. Uber at 72. Tesla at 232. Rocket Lab above 7. NASDAQ 474. Oh, yeah. Well, it's not really a stock, but I was going to mention this. Google. Yeah, Google did have some momentum as well. Google did have a nice reversal. I mean, people started realizing it was at 149, now at 157. Yeah, I mean, the DOJ stuff is just not that important to some people, and that's why you got more momentum. Money market funds. Did you guys see the update on that yesterday? Because although like yesterday was a crazy day for me, I came back home late at night and I was like, wait a second, money market fund update. There has to be, today's Thursday. There's a money market fund update. And so it was like 1 a.m. and I was like, I need to see the money market funds. Dude, somehow we increased again by 23 billion. There's 6.32 trillion on the sidelines in money market funds. This has been 5 consecutive weeks in a row. And the markets did a crazy U-turn over the past 4 days, even with 23 billion going back into money market funds. So if the thesis plays out and some of that money comes back into the stock market and we don't get into a recession, because I think that money right now is scared money. It doesn't want to risk recession, because obviously if you thought there was no recession, that money would not be getting 5%, right? Especially with the Fed about to cut rates, you would put it into equities. If that bull market thesis plays out and that money starts chasing equities, I mean, you start to think about Palantir at 35.50. If we hold 35, even if we hold 32-ish, if that money comes back in and they just generally allocate to the S&P 500, Palantir is now in the S&P 500, they want individual AI names, et cetera, et cetera. Like you could see the momentum compound even more aggressively than it's happening right now. And this is what happens when you're in a thematic where your company is recognized as a big leader and you're a winner. Now, the only problem is if Q3 earnings sucks for Palantir, meaning it just doesn't live up to the expectations, they could get smacked on earnings. And that is one thing I'm worried about. I don't think they're going to have like massive growth. I think they're going to have good growth. I don't think it's going to be massive. And so the valuation right now is implying they're having years and years of growth already priced in. So they just have to put up those numbers. I don't know if they're going to put up those numbers yet. And so if they don't, that could create a little bit of a hit on the stock. But if the money is coming from the sidelines, maybe that money starts getting allocated to all these different entities. Jimbo Slice says S&P 500 up 18%. I don't get scared money. Yeah, I mean, well, look, a lot of people didn't think the S&P 500 would be up 18% this year. I didn't think we would have this crazy bull run. And it has been a crazy bull run. Now it's still September. Things can go bad. But the fact that this week we had a recovery, or at least a U-turn, for not really any big reason other than the Goldman conference where people are talking about AI and the market realizing that CPI at 2.5% is good. Like, remember when we tanked 3 days ago on Wednesday when CPI came out? And I was like, this is stupid. Like CPI, like, oh, core is up by 0.1%. It's like, dude, like, come on, dude. CPI is down. We are getting close to 2%. Fed's got to start cutting. If you start cutting, you need places to put your money because the risk-free rate of return is not that enticing anymore. And earnings are not going down. Q3 growth has been strong, or at least the guidance from Q2 has been strong for Q3. And if the consumer is healthy enough to keep this momentum playing, then maybe we get a real decent bull market. But we got to see. We got to see, obviously, how the market ultimately plays out as well. Trump said he will not tax overtime pay, which means Kamala will still adopt the same policy. That's why the market is pumping. So the no taxes on tips and overtime, I did see that policy. I don't know if that's the reason the market's pumping right now, but I think one thing you did say right there is Kamala will accept the same policy. I think the market's also thinking, hey, are Trump and Kamala basically going to be the same outside of like all the social stuff, but are their economic policies going to kind of be the same? And when I mean the same, I don't mean the literal same, but I mean the effects are the same. Kamala wants to raise taxes. Trump wants to raise tariffs. Both of them will have negative consequences or side effects. And so maybe the market's kind of like thinking, well, even if she wins and they raise taxes, it's not like if Trump won, it would have been that much different unless you can prove the tariffs wouldn't have been that inflationary, yada, yada. And I was surprised, dude. Kamala probably from the market's perspective was better in that debate. And then the next day the market goes up and it's like the market basically saying, hey, we don't really care who the president is. We're just like, as long as earnings growth is good and AI is real, like, is the market really not going to buy Oracle if they put up $70 billion of revenue because Kamala's the president, right? I mean, that's the question you have to ask yourself. I think that's the question we all have to ask ourselves. And I don't know. I think the market's going to have to figure it out. But they don't have clarity yet. They really don't have full clarity on what each administration is going to bring. And honestly, they're probably not going to get clarity if we have a divided House and Senate in the United States, and like we have like a gridlock. So the market might be betting on that as well because we're so divided, and that's why they're saying, well, equities will do well regardless. So they don't care too much. Bitcoin at 58,000, Microsoft at 427, Walmart at 80, getting a little bit of a sell-off right here. So we're going to see a little bit of a U-turn right now. Uber at 72, Tesla 232, Rocket Lab still holding that $7 range. Palantir still holding those high 35s at 35.46. But the markets are still pretty green. Still pretty green. Have you listened to the debate? No, I have not listened to the debate yet, dude. I saw some clips here and there, but I've been tired, dude. I've been a little busy this week. She's also a little bit more predictable than Trump. That could be part of it. Maybe that's the case now, but maybe this is a cop out. Maybe if she wins, the market actually tanks, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, we didn't really want this." It's like one of those things where it's like we thought we would be okay with it, but we don't want it. So I still think there's a lot of volatility left for the rest of the year. I just think this week some random conference gets us to like pump is a crazy way to end out this week, because I didn't think Jensen had to just re-say what he said, and the market was like, yeah, AI is cool. We forgot AI is really important. Celsius is pumping right now, because why else? Put in the chat, why else do you think the market's up this week? CPI, obviously, Celsius up 5% right now, so not bad on Celsius. Obviously, CPI was great, but besides CPI, like the reversal we had yesterday to the upside, I mean, there was no other macro data I saw that was like a recognition algorithmically by the market that things are good and that they want to start buying. Rishi hacked it. Oh my God, could you imagine, dude? Adobe's down 2.2% year to date. Yeah, I got to do more research into their financials, dude, because 2 earnings ago they tanked like 20%. Then last earnings they were up 15%. Now they're down 10%. So something's happening that's inconsistent inside of Adobe that's creating all of these issues. $235 billion market cap. Not sure why every quarter they're just not able to be consistent, but that's something that I think requires a little bit more of a deeper look, because they're more of a generative AI play than a lot of other companies. Oh yeah, this thing, ChatGPT IO. That's another thing that came out yesterday. I haven't even had time to go through it, but or play with it a lot. But it's about memory, and it's about reconciling a conversation with an individual. And it's like apparently a really interesting model and that's their first version of a model that is built in memory. So yeah, that's really interesting as well. And again, showing that AI is continuously making progress, and OpenAI seems to be at the forefront of it. But that's why we're getting more momentum. Or at least that's why the stock market feels there should be continuing momentum on some of these names. What else do we have? They released it in the middle of AIP. Yeah, they did. And again, like the private market saying OpenAI is worth 150 billion for losing money. Public market saying, hey, Palantir is worth 80 billion for making $400 million of profits. I'm not saying you deserve to be worth 80 billion for making $400 million of profits, but I am saying if the private markets are going to give OpenAI 150 billion for making zero profits, it's because you're betting on potential and future growth. Same thing the public markets are doing for Palantir. They're betting on potential and future growth. That's why I'm saying if Q3 sucks, like, yeah, we're going to get a really good dip opportunity, because if the growth doesn't match the expectations, it's going to be one of those tougher earning calls. But if it does match the expectations or slightly exceeds it, I mean, now you're talking about the narrative becoming reality. Robinhood right here, 21.89, and things can get really fun. ECB cut rates yesterday as well. Yup, the ECB did cut rates yesterday. That is something that happens, or that's something that happened yesterday. So we're getting more rate cuts across the entire world. Oh yeah, MicroStrategy. I forgot to mention this, dude. I saw this morning. So Saylor bought another 1 billion of Bitcoin at $60,000 a coin. So you got our boy coming back, spending a decent amount of cash on the Biddy coin. MicroStrategy has acquired 18,300 Bitcoin for 1.1 billion at $60,480. So now they have 244,000 Bitcoin at 9.45 billion. 38,000 is their average. The fact that he jumped in at 60 grand kind of makes it feel like he's just ready for a Q4 pump that's going to be pretty gigantic. At least that's what it feels like Saylor is working towards. And if that happens, all bets are off the table. Now, the problem is liquidity has to increase dramatically for that to be the case. So Bitcoin doesn't get to go up when everything goes down. So if we have a bull market, it'll be a real bull market, and Bitcoin will participate. But it needs the macro economy to, hold its hand and not necessarily just tank the bed based on unemployment or whatever. Like, you're going to need everything to cooperate to get the deal done. Okay, let's get an update on Nvidia and try to get a better understanding of why Nvidia is getting some of the momentum that it's getting. Obviously, yesterday was a big U-turn for Nvidia, and Jensen talked, the market listened, and because Jensen talked and the market listened, you had Nvidia go a bit higher. So let me pull up this clip, listen to Stacy from Bernstein talk a bit more about it. Then we'll. All right, here we go.
The great computer science and large computing systems that Nvidia makes, and so we've got to make sure that everybody understands the needs coming, the opportunities of it, the challenges of it, and do it in the most efficient and scalable way we can.
Well, that, of course, was NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang speaking to CNBC outside the White House today. He was there for a meeting about the outlook for AI and how to meet the energy demand needed to power that industry. NVIDIA shares making a huge comeback this week. And top chip analyst Bernstein Stacy Rascon says it remains one of the best names in the industry. Joins me now. It's good to see you again. So we heard a lot from Jensen this week, whether it was in the leather jacket or the business suit. What was your biggest takeaway from either Communicopia out here where we were in San Francisco, or from what he said outside the White House today?
Yeah, look, I think he's right. You know, you're right. The stock has been through the ringer, up and down and sideways over the last few weeks. There have been concerns about Blackwell, their next generation platform, the Blackwell delays and sustainability of demand and everything else. And look, at this point, from everything that we can see, you know, the demand remains off the charts, right? I mean, it seems like their customers just still cannot get enough of what it is that they're delivering. And I think he's right. I think as we go forward, like you can never have too much compute, and they are, you know, they're the ones that are supplying the most of it at this point. I think the concerns around Blackwell delays, which was from a few weeks ago, those have sort of proven to be mostly a nothing burger. They've got a good amount of that, billions of dollars of Blackwell revenue ramping in Q4. We'll have all of next year to ramp that platform as well. I still think this one has legs. I still think it has room to run.
You know, he described the demand that they're seeing when he was on stage yesterday with David Solomon as still being great. He also talked about, Stacey, I think something more powerful, and that's the idea of this installed base that they have, whether it's through gaming or supercomputing, the likes of which we always talk about relative to Apple, but not so much as it relates to Nvidia. The implication being that it doesn't even matter really about some of the competitors who are out there, because the customers of Nvidia are just going to keep coming back only for updated chips that they produce throughout the years.
Yeah, so this gets into the concept of what's known as the ecosystem. So it's an issue. Like a lot of their competitors, like the pitch is, you know, we have a chip that's better than Nvidia, which by the way is always open for debate. But even if it were true, it's probably not enough. It's not just about the chip. It's the chip, and it's the software, and it's the hardware, and it's the systems engineering and everything that goes around it that makes it very, very easy to just buy their NVIDIA stuff and adopt it and install it. And it's up. You can be up and running in days without having to monkey around with anything else. Many of their other competitors' stuff, you can buy it and you try to install it, and it may be months before you're up and running with it. We've even seen evidence of this. You know, AMD now they've recently just bought ZT Systems. That was to gain the systems expertise that NVIDIA themselves have sort of built up organically. AMD's been doing. They bought other acquisitions and other things. They're trying to assemble some of those capabilities. It's on the software side and everything else that they have been less successful building up internally because they just don't have the scale. But it is clearly it's clearly about the silicon, but it's much more than just the silicon. It is everything that goes around it that makes it easy to adopt. And then once you're adopted and once you're established, then you really do have that installed base, a tailwind. Once your customers are using your parts, they're used to programming on your parts. It makes it much easier just to keep doing that.
The super bullish investors would suggest then the implication is that they actually have a moat. That this is not simply you've said that for sure. But more broadly, this is not just a first mover advantage. It's actually something more powerful and durable.
Yeah, I mean, it always starts with the first mover advantage, but you have to remember, like, let's just take a look at the software. It's called CUDA. And CUDA is a variety of different things, by the way, but they started building CUDA over 15 years ago. I mean, that's that's a massive first mover advantage, right? You've got lots of other players now that are just getting started now, and even if you've been trying to build out your software and ecosystem from a competing standpoint for 2, 3, 4 years, Nvidia still have a decade head start on you in that case. And again, once ecosystems get established, they're really, really difficult to crack. Even like one of the other well-known ones is what they call the Wintel ecosystem. This is x86 and Windows in PCs, and it's just sort of barely starting to crack now, but it's been around for decades. Once these things get established, they become very, very powerful.
Okay, so that was Stacy talking about Nvidia, which I thought made a lot of sense. It's hard to have competition. This picture right here by Holmargs, Doug sent me this. Is this their new cybercab? Is this what people are thinking is the cybercab or the robotaxi? Dude, that'd be crazy if this is it, dude. If this is the design. This is a potential rumor right now that this is what it is. It's driving around right now. They're testing it with a bunch of stuff. It is really interesting the way it looks. I mean, hey, if that's what's gonna do what it does, it is kind of ugly. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of ugly, dude. But people said the Cybertruck was ugly too. So I would imagine they're doing some tests on it to an extent, right? I don't know. But if that does come out soon, I mean, that 10/10 event is pretty soon, dude. We are going to know like very soon kind of what this looks like. This is the side-by-side comparison on why people think it is. It doesn't even look real. Well, again, this is what the hypothetical design is. And then this is what people are saying yesterday was that. It really doesn't look the same, or it looks camouflaged or something. It doesn't I mean, there's the first interior, or the part where it doesn't extend looks the same, but when they have that extension at the end, because that extension isn't here at the end, that's where it looks a little bit different. But that's where they might be kind of covering up some parts of it. We'll see. 10/10 is going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. I think Tesla's now, the one that really hasn't caught up with the rest of the market, even though it's done well from the lows. But Tesla is the only real AI play in the real world. Not just in the LLM business applications, or like it's like real AI doing real shit, creating real value. Once they unlock that value, Tesla, I think, should still have a very, very, very exciting and bright future. By the way, Tesla is very interesting compared to Palantir. So if I asked 100 investors, does Tesla deserve to be worth $730 billion right now as a car company? Outside of those investors liking Elon or Tesla, most people would say no, right? They would say it's a car company. It cannot justify $700 billion in market cap. But you're betting on the future potential. I think the same thing could happen with Palantir, which is that, hey, is Palantir worth 80, 70, 60 billion? No, given the earnings growth. But because you think of them in such a different way. I mean, Karp did say yesterday, I think we can make the company 10 times bigger than it is right now. That's basically saying $1 trillion. Because let's round up to right now, it's at 100 billion. That's $1 trillion. Karp's thinking in terms of $1 trillion mindset. So if you think, hey, does Palantir deserve to be worth the multiple? You could obviously say no, just like you can with Tesla. But if you believe the growth is going to be there and the numbers are put up and the moat is highly differentiated from the snowflakes of the world, like Tesla's highly differentiated from the Waymos and Cruises of the world, then people will buy and they'll wait for that growth to come. And the question will be, on any dip, will people let it continue to dip that aggressively? Palantir has not had to deal outside of 2022 with like a really, really harsh collapse after going up a lot. Again, 2022, everyone dealt with that. Tesla's dealt with that many times. But again, Tesla's been around for a longer time, and Tesla has a lot more scrutiny, and it's in the automotive business. So it's different. It's not the same type of recurring revenue from a SaaS perspective that Palantir has, even though Tesla's probably going to get there soon with FSD. So there's nuances between the companies, but the overall valuation debate, I think, is something that could be similar over the next decade with Palantir like it was with Tesla. S&P 500 right here at 560, Apple at 222, Rocket Lab at 696. Seeing a little bit of sell-off in the markets, things coming back down. Bitcoin trying to get to 58,000. Microsoft just turned red. Now flat on the day. HIMS at 1656. Celsius is up 6%. Celsius getting momentum. But everything else is pretty green. Doug says there's a commingling Palantir and SpaceX effect. For Palantir to help manage services globally, they will need global, dependable, high-speed connectivity. Look at today's UA news. Yeah, so United Airlines, are they up today? They announced that they're working with Starlink, right? I was really happy when I saw this news because, yeah, they're up 1%. I fly United all the time, and the Wi-Fi is bad. Like, it's bad. So if they're partnering and getting Starlink into the ecosystem, that would actually make me really happy because that would mean Wi-Fi is better. But in general, if United does this, then all of these guys are going to have to buy Starlink. There's no way. People are not going to tolerate crappy Wi-Fi anymore in the skies, especially if there's a better solution for it. So Starlink's going everywhere, dude. It's exciting. There's like a lot of different elements to trajectories of growth that at the end of the day, I still think it affects Tesla, even if Starlink's not a part of Tesla, because it allows Elon to maintain his momentum. Today's what, the 13th? Did we get retail sales today? No, we got consumer index. We got a consumer sentiment. Consumer sentiment came in at 69 versus 67.9 or 68 expected. Michigan consumer sentiment. Yeah, it increased. Look at that. It increased. That's also really good. University of Michigan consumer sentiment for the U.S. for a second consecutive. Oh, this came out. No, this came out today. Yeah, this morning. 69 versus 67.9 in August. Estimates were 68. This, again, dude, I'm not saying the consumer is amazing, but it's a small beat on consumer sentiment. The University of Michigan consumer sentiment study is one that people respect a lot more. If we're coming in when consumers are saying, hey, yeah, we're buying, again, that's not bad for the macro. Breaking news, Japan purchases $1.2 billion worth of chips from Nvidia. Are you talking about the Japan government? Is Nvidia up on that? Nvidia is slightly green on this. Let's see. Let's get an update on that. Japan, Nvidia. I'm going to try to find that headline. That's interesting, dude. If this is the sovereign governments, right? This is the sovereign government stuff. That is what Jensen was talking about. We all forget about the fact that governments need AI and they need to manage their operations and all this stuff, but like that is a real thing. Let me see if I can find that headline. Nvidia, Japan, 1.2 billion. Yeah, I don't see that headline yet. I'm trying to find it. If you have the link, let me know. But again, we would see more sovereign government stuff. The shoes on the AIPCon stage was boots on the ground. That was the theme. It's okay if you didn't get it. I told them, hey, guys, I don't think anyone gets this. So, you know, it is what it is. But the whole concept was to boots on the ground. That was the interpretation of the theme that they had. The resistance on Robinhood at 22 is... if there's no resistance, like 1,900 shares. Right now, I think we just have algos going back and forth. If we, turn a little bit more bullish at the end of the day, we should probably see 22. But yeah, 22 is not really getting hurt by anything. Robinhood's market cap right now is at 19 billion, 5 billion in cash. So enterprise value of 14 billion, growing 40% year over year. I still think it's relatively cheap. And I think 25 by the end of the year is still possible. So we'll see if that happens. But again, the market has to prove. The reason Robinhood's going up right now is nothing because of Robinhood. By the way, Palantir right here back at 35.60. Look at that. It's only because of the market starting to feel more bullish. Like the fact that the market's feeling like, hey, it's going to be a bull market. It's not going to be a recession. That's why Robinhood's going up. As soon as we confirm that after the election and after rate cuts, then I think you're going to see a lot more momentum. But Robinhood needs that confirmation. And once that confirmation is there, then the market can continue to be excited for them. Because again, they're a bull call on the broader market. Boots on the ground, so they display sneakers. Yeah, look, I agree. Probably wasn't the best move. I was confused. I remember like I went there for the dress rehearsal and I was like, guys, so what's up with the sneakers? Like I didn't ask for like a good couple hours. And then if I was like, guys, why are there sneakers on stage? Like, oh, it's boots on the ground. I was like, all right, I don't think people are really going to understand. That's a little hard to get. So I'll let them know next time the theme could be a little bit more easy to see or interpret. But the point is that the customers that were there, dude, Maven, the $480 million Maven contract we had a general from from the government come and like actually give us some updates on Maven. That was exciting. Komatsu, I thought, had a great presentation. We talked to people in the halftime show, Wendy's, NECMEC, so many different organizations. And again, use cases, boots on the ground. That was definitely the theme, even if the sneakers were hard to represent. The theme for the next event shall be made. Oh, I didn't even tell you guys. So there's a reception after the dress rehearsal. And I was with Krista, who is the Wendy's quality supply chain lady. And me and Krista, we start talking at the reception event. It's like a mixer. And I was like, hey, Krista, you work at Wendy's, right? And she was like, yeah. She's the lady I like did like a 3-minute interview with. I was like, what do you think about mayo? And she was like, I love mayo. Dude, for an hour, we get into a discussion about the problems with mayo. It was the funniest thing ever. Now, maybe I was a couple of glasses of wine in. So maybe that's why I got a little bit more animated in the discussion. But after a couple of glasses of white wine, I was just like, how do you work at Wendy's and not realize that mayo is the worst thing in the world? And she was like, no, it's the best thing. And I was like, you need to go back to Wendy's and eliminate mayo from the supply chain. She's like, Amit, I can't do that. I was like, but you need to do that. I was like trying to convince this lady to not have mayo in Wendy's. And it didn't work. I didn't get to convince her, but it was a fun conversation. It was funny. So the next theme of AIPCon should not be mayo based, but the fact that we had that discussion for like an hour and a half was hilarious. You know, the other thing, I was at this Palantir alumni event as well a couple of days before, and I asked a bunch of the alumni. Dude, I met some alumni from 2006, from 2007. Like, I met some alumni that were in Afghanistan that almost died while they were implementing Palantir software. Like, one of the alumni told me that he was just like, arm is up 7%. He was just in his like box in Afghanistan and a rocket went off, and it's like it was 50 feet away from him, and it like woke him up out of his sleep, but he was so dead tired he couldn't even like believe that was happening. And he was 50 feet away from dying, and he was there as a forward deployed engineer to help create mission critical software. So when Karp says our stuff is literally saving lives, he's right, dude. And like they sent people out there to actually engage in that process, because at the time you needed to have literally boots on the ground to be able to make the software more effective. So I got to meet a lot of people, dude, with a lot of experiences. I met one guy who's been at Palantir for like almost 19 years, and he's still there. And it's just like, why are you still here? And he's like, I don't know where else to go. There's like, this is the only place in the world I want to be at. So they've created such a unique culture where they don't need to hire so many people, because the people that they have keeps staying because they just love being there. Palantir 3554. And I also think that's a moat in a way that's very special, because it just means the product quality and the speed of innovation and the internal R&D doesn't slow down when you have those types of people that actually want to be there. Does Karp like mayo? I did not ask him that question. Bro, you're the only person in the world who doesn't like mayo. I'm telling you guys, it's not a good thing, and the rest of the world will agree with me one day, even if they don't agree with me yet, but eventually that will happen. Nate, thanks for the $5 super chat. Amid, is everyone missing the enormity of the Oracle partnership? OCI and Palantir are going to be huge. I think Oracle partnership is going to be crazy. I think it's going to be exciting. Obviously, we haven't got any updates on that from Oracle and Palantir, but eventually when we do, I think we're going to start to see a lot more go-to-market and sales distribution. I also talked to a bunch of people at consulting firms. So I got to talk to people that work at consulting firms that basically resell Palantir software in a way, and then like consult with clients to be able to implement Foundry, AIP, all that stuff. And they told me right now, it's going well, but it's a challenge because you're dealing with a lot of bureaucracy internally within organizations, and you're trying to show them like, hey, Palantir can solve all these problems, but you have to fight for it. So people like CodeStrap that are fighting to like implement Palantir and develop this ecosystem where developers can keep building on top of stuff, you need a lot of them. I spoke to Bill Ward from North Slope. North Slope is a company that is literally a consulting firm just to implement Palantir inside of companies. He used to be a Palantir engineer, then he left, started his own consulting firm, and now he works with clients that want to like solve their business use cases, ontologize their data, and he helps implement Palantir for them. So I imagine the more North Slopes we have, you can look it up if you want to check out their website and stuff, like AWS, Azure, GCP, these guys have thousands of consulting firms of people that are just built to literally implement Azure Cloud or GCP analytics, whatever it may be. Palantir has like 5 of those in existence. And if Palantir gets to 5,500 of those, they're going to resell the software like crazy. But it takes time to get there, you know? Amit, what was your favorite AIPCon presentation? I liked the second to last guy. Let me pull him up. His energy was so good. The guy was from Associated Materials. Here's a little clip on this. This is when he said this, the whole room was like, damn, this guy's not messing around.
Everything that's in an ERP system, we're doing in Palantir today. So if you're here and you're an ERP reseller, I'm sorry, your time's over.
Dude, when he said that, we were like, damn. He's like, he did not care. And someone like Chad has been saying this for years, right? So when you have a client say it's just a lot more different to hear from the client.
A lot of you guys here I know have legacy systems. You can do more in Palantir in less time than it's going to take you to implement a new ERP system. For us to implement ERP across 11 factories, we're talking almost 5 years. This is less than 9 months work, and we've implemented over 10 business use cases already. We are seeing immediate bottom line results. We're driving on-time delivery. Our customers actually like us. We actually interviewed our customers. The reports went from, oh man, it's like a Ouija board when we order stuff, to holy cow, they actually deliver on time. It's amazing. We're driving that kind of change.
Guys, these testimonials, like, I don't think people can hear customers say that stuff and like be like, oh, it's just like, it's a black box. Like when he says our customers actually like us because we're solving the problems that they want us to solve because Foundry replaces our ERP systems. Again, the amount of conviction that I think people are starting to get on Palantir, regardless of whatever happens to the stock, is not because of anything else. You could say Carp and how cool he is, all that stuff, but that's all abstract. It's these customers that are saying they can't live without this shit. And that anyone who's a reseller of ERP software, your days are done because Foundry has commoditized all of that stuff because it keeps everything in one stack. So, a couple of years ago, it was hard to imagine Palantir going to $1 trillion. If I were to say any software company could go to $1 trillion right now that doesn't have a consumer product, it would have to be Palantir, because every single vertical these guys are touching, their go-to-market with boot camps is good. It's not amazing yet. It needs to get amazing. It needs to get to the point where they can put up a 50, 60, 70% growth quarter like Nvidia does, right? Until they put up that quarter, you're not going to see any remote resemblance of $1 trillion valuation. But if the market's about betting on potential, when you have customers say that type of stuff, there's not a lot of customers that are ready to go, put their reputation on the line for Snowflake, and say this type of shit. It's just like customer proof is really all you need at the end of the day. This is what matters. It's like in any business, what your customers say about you is what matters, right? So like, for example, if you guys have a friend who's interested in finance and they're like, hey, I'm interested in getting into the stock market. I need someone to listen to. Who should I listen to on the internet? And you guys send them my channel. That's all the validation I need to know that I'm working in the right direction. Because out of all the choices you could pick, you say, hey, check out this Amit guy. He's hilarious. And you're going to start to realize his thesis around Mayo, and you're going to hopefully learn a lot on his show. And that does well for me. You're sort of, evangelizing my product, which is the show. Same thing for Palantir. When you have a customer that's ready to say your days are done if you do something that Palantir does because you're doing a commoditized version of what Foundry has been able to literally commoditize, then it becomes one of those things where the more customers that say that, the more it becomes undeniable. And I think it's just very exciting. I think it's very, very exciting to be at this moment. And also now from a retail perspective, so I've been kind of seeing how more retail investors are thinking about the stock. Although many of them do think the valuation is kind of crazy, I think people are going to buy this dip, dude. We get a 20% dip, people are buying. We get a 30% dip, people are buying. Now, after you hit $35, if you go to 30, that looks like a dip. Even though theoretically 30 is not really a dip, right? I mean, like the $30 would be the stock's only up 80% year to date versus 115%. So, but like that, it's going to be interpreted as a dip, and people are not. I think Palantir is developing a base of people that is similar to Tesla, where they believe in it so deeply. And if you were early on it, you've obviously done very well. So you're willing to average up, and you just believe the long-term potential is there, and they're not, Palantir's not trying to do something as complicated as humanoid robotics or FSD. That's the one nuance as well. Like Tesla could go crazy, 10, 15 trillion you know, if FSD and robotics really scales. So you have to wait longer for the return because it's really hard. Elon has promises he doesn't keep, but you can't really blame him because it's really fucking hard to do this stuff. Palantir is just selling software. That's it. All they have to do is like get more clients, which is not the hardest thing in the world. But the question is, can they replace so many other legacy systems and become one of the most important software companies in the world, along with that government business? I think the answer to that question is yes, which is why people are probably going to take advantage of more and more dips that they see. Midwest, shout out to you. I sent the link to several people and said, check out this dude's brows. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Midwest. That is a funny one. Yeah, they're going to text you back like, oh, wow, his eyebrows are actually really nice. Software, not easy too, but definitely not manufacturing. Exactly, yeah. It's not like building a car that drives itself. It's just a totally different thing, right? So, you know, it's a different ecosystem. Your delivery on the chicken nugget joke yesterday was phenomenal. Okay, I'm happy you heard that. I thought of that on the spot. And I was like, all right, let's say it. It was just a heat of the moment. I had to do. I was messing with her. I was like, you know, I'm gonna ask you about Mayo when we're live in front of thousands of people. She was like, if you dare ask me about Mayo, I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do it. I thought about it though. That would have been funny. Any update on Titan? No update on that Titan contract outside of the $200 million one we got in February. I think it's going to be until 2026 till we get the RFI on if Titan happens or not. But we're probably going to get more updates over the next few months in terms of like the delivery and the bidding process. Palantir right here at 35.70, not right now, but it hit a top of 35.70 today. Oracle at 165, Google 158, Apple slows down a bit, 222, S&P at 561 right now. Green Day. Green Day. Okay, let's get some coverage on Oracle and the broader market, and then we'll keep going from there. Yeah, let's get some tech coverage. Here we go. And then we'll see what else we got going on.
A rebound, the best performing sector on the week. And for that, we're going to turn to Dom Chu. Hey, Dom.
All right, so Carl, if you take a look at that NASDAQ 100 trade, the large cap stocks within that tech heavier NASDAQ index, it has been pretty impressive, the move that we've seen. I'm putting up the QQQ Trust just to give you an idea. And by the way, over the last week, this particular move here has been roughly 6%. So it's been a decent bounce off some of the recent lows that we've seen. With regard to the components that are kind of driving some of the action there, if you look within that particular NASDAQ trade, one of the next charts I'm going to show you here will show you actually over the last week where the best performing bounces have been, and it's thematic. If you look in the last week in the NASDAQ 100, it has been ARM Holdings, Broadcom, and Nvidia, the three best performing stocks in the NASDAQ 100, all chip stocks. If you take a look at the next three best performers in that next 100 trade, it has been Supermicro, Marvell, and AMD. So those six stocks have been the six best bounce back performers over the last week in the entire NASDAQ 100 trade. As for where you're seeing some of that kind of relative weakness develop over there overall, it has been in Adobe shares, Workday shares, and Fortinet. They've been some of the underperformers in that week-long 6% move in the NASDAQ 100. So it's something to kind of keep a close eye on there. And if you look at the Magnificent Seven, the mega cap tech trade, the outperforming stocks within that trade overall have not been Apple. Apple has been one of the underperformers, only up about 1% during that span. It's been Nvidia, Amazon, and Tesla, the three Magnificent Seven stocks that have staged the biggest one-week gains within that NASDAQ 100 trade. And I just want to give out an honorable mention. Actually, it's a winner overall, and that is going to be an Oracle, because on a year-to-date basis, that massive move that we've seen, 57%, accentuated by the earnings report that we saw just over the course of the last couple of days this past week. Oracle shares, again, getting a lot of more positive analyst commentary, and of course the upward revisions to its revenue forecast, all driving a massive move higher. So keep an eye on Oracle as well. Guys, David, I will send things back over to you.
All right, Don, thank you. And of course, that was a good place for you to end and us to start Oracle, because just saw it's been on a tear. In fact, this week as well, since reporting earnings and had a financial analyst day. And as Dom just told you, up over 55% this year. The second best technology performing stock behind only Nvidia. Our next guest called the stock his top investment idea. Joining us is Bernstein's Mark Merdler. He has an outperform rating on Oracle, raised his price target recently to 201. What a week it's been Mark, why do you feel there's more to go here? Obviously, I mean, I still remember the call. Larry Ellison sees data centers as far as the eye can see.
It's been very impressive. This has been a hidden story for a while, as Oracle has been shifting the whole business to the cloud, and they've been building out capacity. But what's interesting is they built stuff that's very different. Their IaaS PaaS capability is differentiated from the big guys, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, and because of that, they're growing significantly faster than their peers in that market space. And so why do they keep doing well? They keep doing well because the company last night or yesterday raised their numbers meaningfully. They raised the guidance for 2027, and they put out 2029 guidance showing that they're going to, in the last 2 of those years, they're going to grow 16% year-over-year revenue growth, and that in 2029, they're going to have margin improvement year-over-year, EPS growth year-over-year of 20% in the out year. So this is a business that is accelerating, and the street, frankly, doesn't fully believe that. They haven't. They believe that Oracle was one of the losers in the cloud for quite a period of time, and now people are just not sure. And so I think as we go through in a market in which the rest of software is not doing that well, in which macro is impacting many of the growth names, and the growth names are slowing for natural reasons in which the businesses have saturated, and for many reasons, these traditional growth software companies are decelerating, and Oracle is accelerating, and that's going to shift investor focus.
Right. All right. Well, you write, I think, in a recent note, there's a lot of innovation going on at Oracle. This is obviously after having attended numerous keynotes and presentations at the Oracle Cloud World Conference. So what would be a sign of the innovation that perhaps is still not fully appreciated by investors?
So Oracle has basically made the cloud available anywhere. If you are going to use the big three, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, you have to put it in a data center, often the size of a football field. On the other hand, Oracle is building their Oracle Cloud data centers that, yes, they can be really big, but they could be in sovereign for individual countries. They could be for individual companies. They can, in fact, give you the full capability of cloud, IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, running it shortly in 3 racks. They could run it on a cruise boat if they wanted to. And so the flexibility is significantly differentiated, and it's going to take a lot of work if the big guys decide they want to move into that part of the market.
Wanted to ask about Adobe, which I believe you cover and have an outperform rating, and is not doing too hot today on that guidance. Does that change anything for you?
No, I mean, the optics of the guidance is not very good. The argument that management has been making that the business would accelerate in the back half of the year, and they would imply that it would grow faster next year. They're guiding for a weak Q4, and the reality is there's a lot of one-time events.
Adobe is now down 10%
that are driving that, and that's going to weigh on the stock until management is able to prove that those really are one-time effects and that the business is truly accelerating. On the other hand, if you look at it in a market in which most of software is decelerating, Adobe at the current rate of growth, given their margins and everything else, is not a bad investment. But for the stock to really work, they've got to show acceleration. And so everyone's going to look at their Max conference and hope we're going to get some information there, or it may take a couple quarters in which the stock is simply in the penalty box. But we're looking on a longer term, and we do think it will accelerate.
Mark, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Looks like Oracle is reproving their software business from an acceleration standpoint. We saw their remaining performance obligations obviously go up to $99 billion. Look at the S&P, dude. 561 right here. It touched 562. And that's why Oracle's getting more momentum with the RPO. Oracle right here up. Oh, wow. Oracle was up 7% of the day. Now it's up 2%. So you got that 1030 slam that immediately started, even though it's 1027. But Nvidia right here falling off a little bit as well. Market's taking a little bit of a breather right now. 1030 tends to happen. I'm curious to see how the day is going to close. Because next week, folks, we got the Fed. Wednesday next week, we got the Fed. And so I don't expect a big buy the news day. I don't even expect the big sell the news. I expect kind of flatness. We all know they're going to cut. They're going to do 25 bips. It'll happen. The Fed, then it depends on what Jay Powell says in the meeting. If he says we are beginning a rate cutting cycle, I think maybe the market could pump. If he says, you know, we're doing 25 and we'll see what happens, and he's not that bullish, then maybe the market just doesn't care. But I think we're priced in for a cut. There's no way a cut takes us higher, like significantly, because we're priced in. Like the market is giving, you know, momentum to these companies based on the idea that we'll be in a low interest rate environment in the next 2 years. But he needs to start the process. And if he does, I think it's going to be exciting. Diego Day Off, thank you for the $10 super chat. Did you get more subscribers after Palantir was added to the S&P 500? I think in general, the growth of the channel has actually been consistent with Palantir's growth as a company. And that's kind of obvious, right? Because the company, the channel talks a lot about Palantir. So if the main thing you're talking about is starting to do well, more people are going to be interested in it. But I think my growth strategy for the channel has been, if you get people to enter the door of the channel, then the question becomes, do they stay? And first of all, if you know, going live on YouTube, I think is the greatest way to engage an audience, to actually get them to like care, right? So going live, which I do a lot, has been a way to get people to be more engaged. Even if they came for Palantir, they stay for like other stuff, because that initially got them interested. But then the live streams are, you know, and the guests and the podcast, we do all this stuff, keeps it fresh and entertaining every day. And then for Palantir, if they came for Palantir, can you keep giving good quality Palantir coverage? So yeah, I think the channel has grown dramatically as Palantir's grown. But sustaining people's attention and like actually giving them a reason to keep watching, that's the creative part that you have to get to, right? And so you got to keep working. You got to keep trying to diversify a lot of the content as well. Jonathan Stern says, I've stayed for 2 years. Yeah, dude, a lot of you guys reached out. I mean, look, the carp video was kind of crazy, because I just got a lot of messages from people saying, you know, we've been following your. I mean, it's kind of crazy to look at this image, dude. Like, I was covering this guy in 2021, and you know, his hands on my wrapped around my shoulder, and it was the most natural thing, dude. It wasn't awkward or anything. He was just like, all right, let's take a picture. And I was like, hey, do you want to do a video? He's like, yeah, let's do a video. And he just wrapped his arms around me, and then we did it was one of those things where he wanted to do this. He was happy to do this. He wasn't like forced to do it. It was just, he enjoyed it. And it's crazy, because years ago, I only knew him through a screen. And one thing that has been crazy about 2024, dude, is I've met him 3 times this year, which is kind of wild, because it's like having the opportunity to meet the guy you've been covering for years, that you've like kind of based your brand around to build what you're doing, 3 times in 1 year is wild, and that usually doesn't happen. So I've been really grateful to like people like Chad and Ileano and Sasha that have like set up these opportunities to make this stuff happen. And you know, it's just been a fun ride, dude. It's been a really, really fun ride, and it's been really, really cool. Covering him in Mayo, goodness gracious. More luck to you, Mid. You deserve all the publicity you get. You're really helping all of us newbie in the stock market. When are you coming to Ireland? I'm coming to Ireland when my money starts doubling. Okay? When my money starts doubling, I'm coming to Ireland. Now, if you've been on the channel for a couple of years and I've kept you here, you're probably annoyed, because you've heard that line used in a variety of different ways, because when a line is good, your boy uses it. If you're new to the channel, you probably think, wow, that's really smart. Made a joke about doubling, a little pun right there. It's one or the other. But regardless, it is a line that we have to say. It is a line that we have to say. Sunday says no Dublin jokes. No, I don't know when I'm coming to Ireland. I do. Oh, this is, you know, it's a good thing you bring this up. What I do want to do in 2025, what I really do want to do is I want to have an event, not like AIPCon, but like, even if it was a small little venue or like restaurant that I could rent out in the city or somewhere nearby, and we could have like 100 of you guys come out, that would be really cool, dude. That would be really fun. If we could have an event where 100 people from the stream end up coming to, and it's like it's one of those events where people are just there and you have dinner, you get to talk, socialize, like a mixer or something. That would be so cool. I don't know where that would be, but I would like be willing to pay for that. I would be willing to rent out a little venue, because I think that would be so fun, dude. Like, just to everyone to meet and like bond and talk and all the stuff, and be like, you know, it would be funny. We would be referencing ourselves with the names in the chat. Like, oh, you're Broccoli Bob. And then Broccoli Bob's like, my name is Jonathan. That would be the funniest thing ever, dude. Oh, you're Midwest Cannabis. It's like, you know, it's like, it'd be the funniest thing. So I think we should try to do that in 2025. It's just hard because you guys are all around the world. It's not like you're all in New York or you know, the UK or California or Germany or something. So it's going to be hard to set up, but I'm going to try, dude. I'm going to figure out a way to do it. I think we need to. It'd be so fucking cool, dude. And it also has to be during a time where everyone can go, like maybe summer, maybe Christmas break. So it has to be one of those things where it's like available for the most amount of people to have a chance to make it. And then hopefully enough people actually can make it. And that would be really cool. Where else do we have on the market right now? 35.19 on Palantir, Nvidia 118, ARM 147, Oracle 164, Robin at 21.66. You know, one thing I will say, so we're getting a little sell off right here. One thing I will say is, on Wednesday when I finished the market open, it was 8 a.m. or 11 a.m. Eastern, and I was like, wow, like you can finish things early and kind of get through the day. So West Coast time is very interesting to some respects. But I still love the East Coast at the end of the day. You know, New York still has my heart. Uber right here at 72.41. Google at 158. Rocket Lab at 697. Apple here at 222. S&P at 560. Okay, so let's end it off with I have to get a flight in like a couple hours, but I think that's the end of the market open. We'll do like 5-10 minutes of Q&A. Anyone has any Q&A, we'll do that. Any random questions, we'll end it off with that. If you want to leave, that's the end of the market open. I'm not fully on my game right now because I slept late last night. I barely got any sleep this week, so this wasn't really the best market open in terms of like getting through topics and talking about the actual stock market. But hopefully we got a good reflection on AIPCon, and if anyone has any more questions, we can answer them right now. But we'll be back on Monday, and I want to dive a lot deeper into what the hell is going on with the market. Because to be honest, this week I've barely kept up with like actual news. Like so much shit was happening yesterday, dude. So many breaking pieces of headlines, but I was like just gone throughout the whole day, so I really couldn't keep up with it. But yeah, Monday we'll be back in action. Wednesday we have the Fed meeting. And I think we have Palantir Weekly on Saturday night. So we'll talk more Palantir on Saturday night, not tonight, because I'll be flying tonight. But yeah, Saturday we'll reference it and keep going. And that's it. Is TJ coming? No, because I got to get out of here. So TJ and me, usually we have like a long segment. So you guys can go live on TJ's channel, but he'll be back next week and we'll go through his stuff. His portfolio is of like 700 grand this month, dude. He's had a fun month. So TJ's been pretty well. When are you going to India? I'm going to India in October 5th. So it'll be tough to keep up everything, but we're going to get it done. We'll make sure market open happens. Did you see Anduril at AIPCon? You know, the thing is, I didn't actually get a chance to see the Anduril demo because I was having a meeting with someone at AIPCon. It was a really interesting meeting, but I didn't expect to have the meeting. I had the meeting. That's when Karp also walked into the room where I was having a meeting, and that's how that video happened. But that's why I actually didn't get the Anduril demo. And then right after the meeting was done, I had to go into more interviews. So it was a jam-packed day, dude. It was a lot of shit. Like my phone, thank God I bought that case where it charges your phone because like I needed to constantly charge my phone yesterday. But it was just a lot of stuff. So yeah, didn't get to see that. But I'm sure they have footage of that, so I'll try to get that uploaded soon. And I have a lot of interviews you guys are going to like to see as well. Arnie says, new thing you learned from AIPCon. Honestly, and you're going to see it in the customer interviews, the use cases of implementing LLMs once you ontologize your data for the newest customers I talk to, customers that have been on 2, 3, 4 month pilots, that's the thing I learned is that they care deeply about that operating system. It's not just like this abstract concept Palantir talks about. It's like real for companies that are real. And I think that's the biggest thing I learned is that you can get real use cases once you ontologize. It's hard to do it, but once you do it, once you have that structured data, everything changes. Where are those interviews? I still have to edit the audio on them, but they'll be out in probably about Monday. I'm probably going to upload like either multiple clips or like 1 hour long video with multiple segments. I'll figure out how to do it, but there's going to be a ton of content for the interviews. Hey, Amit, what do you think about Palantir under a Democratic administration? I think they'll be fine. Democrats or Republican, I think they'll be good. Democrats or Republicans, I think they'll be fine. I don't know, dude. I think could JD Vance and the Peter Thiel connection help Palantir? Maybe, but at the end of the day, if they don't win, like I think Palantir is just becoming too important, and the government needs to spend too much money on AI that they're gonna have to give it to the most efficient company at the end of the day. Did you get the demo that was recorded with the drones? I didn't. I think someone else got it. Dude, it was such a jam-packed day. I was not able to get that demo, but I'm pretty sure a couple other people got it. So I'm going to try to get that footage and upload it and get more of that stuff. John says I bought a charging case because of you. Well, there you go. We're both helping Chinese manufacturing. So that's it. The 1 billion share buyback from Palantir might align with Peter's 1 billion shares he's selling. No, I don't think so. I think if Peter sells 1 billion worth of stock, it's because he's held on to the company for 20 years and he wants to get some liquidity, which would be about 28 million shares out of the 140 million he has. The buybacks is like just for them to buy back. I don't think they're going to buy back $1 billion if Peter sells $1 billion. I think it's more so like, hey, if we think we're cheap, like I don't think Palantir should be buying back their stock at 34. I think, wait for a little bit more of a reasonable price. But if they do buy back at 34, that's super bullish because that means they think they're probably worth like 44, and that means they're going to put up more growth. So they did buy back 1.2 million shares at about $22 last quarter. That was a good buy because obviously we're above 22. So let's just see if they continue to execute on buying those shares back. Learn to Dance, greetings from Ireland. Greetings to you as well. Learn to Dance. Thank you for being here. No, I am going to India October 5th. October 5th. So India will be October 5th. And I'll keep everyone updated on that. I'm going to try to stream 1010 from India, and I'm going to try to stream the Robinhood event 1016. So I'll try to make sure those streams still happen. All right, guys. I think that's it. I am really tired. I'm sorry if this market open has not been the best. You can tell I'm losing my voice, but also like my mind is running in a million directions, and it's kind of hard to consolidate thoughts and like give really good analysis. But I wanted to go live because after the death threats I got yesterday of not doing the market open, I was like, we can't not go live, even though I was probably in no position this morning to go live. But it's been a special weekend. It's been fun. It's been one of those years, bro. It's been one of those years. It's been one of those years. Like there's certain years in life you have that like, take you to the next level. And this has been one of those years. It really has. It's like, I don't know, man. Life is it's a series of moments, right? You have some ups, you have some downs. Had some downs the past couple of years, and then you just keep working, keep trying, keep innovating, stay true to yourself, don't sell out. Like the biggest fear I have right now, to be honest, like the biggest fear, and I'm very conscious of this fear, is not letting this go to my head. So, for example, when Karp said we have the leader of our retail movement here, like. There's one part of me that's like, oh my God, that's the most amazing thing he could have ever said. And I appreciate that. The other part of me is like, I don't want to embrace that. And I don't want to embrace that. Like, I don't want to tweet like, oh, look at what Karp called me, the leader of the retail movement. Like, I don't even for 1 second want people to think that it's going to my head or that I am trying to like emulate this persona and like get validation and be like, see guys, I told you I'm the leader of the retail movement. Like that's my biggest fear, dude. It's like, it's literally my biggest fear because I've seen so many people have something special and rather than letting the action speak for the success, they start doing the talking. And it's just like, it never like, like the reason Karp deserves to be happy and talk his shit this weekend is because he worked 23 years to get into the S&P 500. Right? Like you can talk your shit after 23 years, like you have to put in so much work to have the feeling that you deserve to talk your shit. And I just like, my biggest fear is getting complacent and the momentum continuing to not happen. If you embrace an archetype of reality that is perceptually true to a lot of people, leader of the retail movement, whatever, but if you act like you are, you start to lose a lot of the significance of what got you there, which is humility, and which is just giving more value. Just giving more value. Philip says we could have never imagined this anything is possible. It is kind of crazy, dude. I'm not gonna lie. It is kind of crazy, this whole thing. The reason it's like really, really crazy is because Like someone was asking me 3 years ago, hey, if I told you you were going to be like shaking hands with Karp and sitting down with Vlad for for an hour, like 3 years ago, if I told you that, would you believe it? And I was like, to an extent, yeah, because I'm like, I've always been ambitious. I just didn't know where my ambitions would take me. But on the other hand, it's like, nah, dude, this is like, sometimes shit's just happening and it's like, you're literally in the moment and it's happening and you're just trying to live in that moment and like, accept that it's happening in that moment. Like the meeting I had yesterday, I can't say who it was with, but like I had a meeting yesterday and it was just one of the most craziest meetings I've ever had. And it's like I'm just like there in that moment and I'm like talking, and I'm like, holy crap, this is actually happening. This is crazy. And then obviously getting to meet with Karp and like even being on the halftime show, like being live on that show and like knowing that that's the other thing. Well, the other thing that's really interesting as well is I think there's the leader of the No Mayo movement. Exactly. The other thing that's really interesting is the embracement of the moment. So like there were no butterflies in my stomach when we went live for the halftime show or the pregame show. Like as soon as they were like 3, 2, 1, it was just like, all right, let's do this. And I think that's another thing that's really interesting about this. Like everything that's happening, you have to embrace the moment. And I think for some reason, like I'm excited to embrace that moment versus scared. Maybe it's because I do a live stream every day. And so I don't have this fear of public speaking or whatever, but like on a stage as big as that, when you're representing, the retail community and all that stuff, like it's about execution. And I like having that pressure. Like it's fun to have that pressure, because it's like that pressure. If you execute against it, you're gonna perform well, and you get to keep going to the next level. And then you start meeting all these people, and these people want to have conversations with you, and they want to talk to you. And sometimes there's some imposter syndrome. It's like, hey, XYZ wants to have a meeting with you. And I'm like, what? XYZ wants to have a meeting with me? They're like, yeah, they want to meet with you. It's like, okay. Or hey, Dr. Karp, wants to take a picture with you, or like there's all this like these things that happen. You're in the moment, they're happening, and at the same time you're trying to reconcile how are they happening, why are they happening, how did this happen, what did I do to make this happen, what can I do for all this to be taken away, right? What can I do for all this to stop, and what can I do to hypercharge this to the next level? How can I get to hyper growth? How can we take this thing and really 10, 15, 20x it to the point where it's bigger than, if it's big right now, how can it be even bigger than we imagine? Like there's so many thoughts running through my head when all this stuff is happening. But at its core, the number one fear I have is not remaining humble and not being grateful for everything. And it's weird because the bigger you get, the more leverage you have. Like the bigger you get, the more theoretically you can become less grateful because you're providing so much more value that you don't need to be so grateful for every little thing that you're getting because you have the leverage, right? That's just the nature of how leverage works. But I think that as you get bigger, if the leverage increases, then the gratitude increasing is what hopefully increases the leverage even more, so that you don't have to fall into the trap of being perceived as someone who's, had everything go to their head. Like people want to see you win, but you want to give them a reason to want to see you win. Is what I'm trying to say. You don't want to win, and people kind of like the amount of comments we got on the YouTube video yesterday with the short, like so many, a majority of the comments out of the 5 comments that said, wow, Amit is really short, which Karp's really tall. Okay. Maybe I'm not really short. 5'8" is average, right? 5'8" is okay. I think Karp's like 6'2". The majority of the comments were like, damn, Amit, like we really were happy for you. We're happy for you. And that's what you want. You want people to be happy for you. You don't want people to be jealous or upset. Like you want people to genuinely be happy when you win. And it's not easy for people to be happy because, there's a lot of feelings when you start gaining a little bit more success. But the fact that the majority of people like genuinely want to see you win. Like if my favorite artist releases an album, I want to see that album sell 1 million copies in the first week. Because even though it doesn't affect me in my life, the art that I'm getting from that artist, AKA the music, is so important to me that I want to see them more successful. So I know a lot of people are getting value from the content that I put out from a financial perspective in terms of stock analysis, market open, market close, Palantir content, all this stuff. And so I know they want to see the brand grow bigger because that means something to them because they get value out of the content. And I think that's very special because to even for a second give a fuck about someone else, even if you are getting value from them, but wanting to see them succeed at high levels and like be happy to share in that journey, I want to keep the sanctity and authenticity of that to be real. I mean, it's how we think about Carp. Not only obviously are we invested in Palantir, and if Carp does well, the stock does well, we make money. But all of us want to see Carp be on Bill Maher. We want to see him on Lex Friedman. We want to see him get this massive recognition because we all believe in his message. But now he needs the distribution of the masses to hear his message. And when 5 million people hear him on a podcast one day, it means something to us because we know how important it is for his brand to grow. And we care about his brand growing and his message getting out there into the world. And I think that's the same thing on a smaller level with me, but it's just been a hell of a journey having it play out. I'm genuinely really happy for you, dude. You're a good and real dude. Thank you, different person. I appreciate you. We are happy for you. Just upset we had to watch Meet Kevin. I got a bunch of those comments as well. People like, motherfucker, you made me watch Meet Kevin. Dude, so again, the reason I reference Meet Kevin a lot of times on the channel, it has nothing to do with anything personal I have against the guy. It's just I cannot fathom how you go that deep down the rabbit hole where hundreds of thousands of people care about you, and the only thing you care about is how much money you can suck out of them. And I don't think that's an understatement, given the course is pumped every 5 minutes, discount code, all this nonsense. It's like, I've always felt the coupon code that never expires is one of the most toxic things ever, because it's like he knows it doesn't expire. He's literally lying to you, saying it expires. It has now become a joke somehow. His audience has normalized, oh, it's just a joke. We know it never expires. I'm like, look, you can have inside jokes with your community that are sometimes kind of cringe. That shit is toxic. It's just like, it's this like manipulative thing of sign up now by 11:59, it expires, then it never expires. It's like, and I don't know, dude. I don't know. But forget Kevin. It's the metaphor of what he represents is sometimes to me just like not an ethical thing. And, get your money, be a capitalist, whatever. I don't really care about all that stuff, but I just can't imagine taking advantage of people's time, energy, and attention for you in that way. And again, that's my biggest fear. It's my biggest fucking fear. I don't want any of this ever to go to my head. Ever, dude. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's a weird fear to have, but it's one of those fears where it's like there's so many small opportunities in life to build something. Like again, the growth via social media this year and the brand has been hyper growth. Right. I talked about this a couple months ago on a market close. There was like 200 people at the end. It was like a Friday. I was rambling for like 6 hours. Literally, it was like, no, it wasn't 6 hours. It was like 3 hours and 45 minutes. But I was talking about what it means to engage in hypergrowth. And really what it means is like scaling the quality of, in my case, the content with the numbers that are going up and trying to match the ability for those two to make sense together and keep things going, keep the momentum going, keep the growth compounding on itself. But when that's happening, you're also thinking to yourself, hey, should I not be should I not be trying to respond to as many people as possible? Should I not be doing this? Should I not be doing that? And it's like the way you got there was because you responded to every comment, every DM, blah, blah, blah. Like you actually kept up with it. But now it's a little impossible to respond to literally every comment in DM, but it's one of those things of like you got here because you took the time to message someone. Like even yesterday, I was in the car, had like 3 minutes before I had to go to dress rehearsal. Someone messaged me something. I don't even know what they messaged, but I sent a message back real quick. I'm like, oh my God, did you actually just respond to me? And I was like, yeah, like it's just like, like if I see it in that moment, I'm just like respond and I get the message out. And it's like, that's what that energy is what I want to keep forever. Like I want to keep the energy forever of like, no matter who the fuck you are, amidst not some figure out there that's unattainable. It's just, it's a guy that is just like you. And he's just funnier. That's all. Like that's really the only difference. And so I want that to be the case forever. That's it. I want that to be the case forever. As I say, he's just funnier. Jeremy says, genuinely humble, admit, don't lose it. Well, the humility doesn't last when it comes to humor. Okay. The humility doesn't last when it comes to humor. Everything else I'll be humble about, but not humor. No, I'm just kidding. But like, I always want people to think, hey, like amidst that person that like can be a normal human being without thinking he's some crazy brand, even if his numbers are going up. And like, that's what matters. I think that's the way to grow something authentically. And again, this is what Palantir has done. Like Palantir has done, the Palantir methodology has been, let's grow, but let's make our clients love us so much that they never want to leave us. And then we can say, you know, we're the best software. But like, we need to develop that brand recognition with our clients, and that's what they've done. And now these clients are willing to bat for them at AIPCon and basically say, if you're using anything else, you're losing out on tons and tons of money. It's because Palantir did it in an authentic way. They built the moat so strong. I mean, I think what I'm doing right now is building my moat, right? Like as a financial creator, or let's call it a content creator, I'm building my moat right now and getting invited to AIPCon, these videos with Carp, the Robinhood interview, all these different things that are happening. It's a sense of building my moat. And when a moat becomes really big, it's hard for someone to kick back against it. That's like a universal rule in business, right? Like, you need to develop a foundation that is so substantial that if anyone tries to compete, it's GG, right? That's the whole 0 to 1 thesis. It's like, you monopolize a market, you become so good, no one wants to go watch Meet Kevin. They want to stay with you, not because they hate him, but just because, you know, you're better, and you end up taking market share. And there's going to be a lot of competition over the next decade when it comes to content creation, and you have to maintain that market share. And it's kind of borderline obsessive to try to maintain that market share, because I'm going live after barely sleeping last night, but like, that's the obsession that is needed to accentuate and continue to grow. And if you build that moat over the next 4 or 5 years, I think we're probably like year 2 into this realistically. It becomes one of those things where, all right, how big can it actually get, right? Can Palantir actually get into the S&P 500? Oh shit, they did. I think that's why Carp is hype, right? That's why Carp is hype, because Carp's like, holy fuck, dude, we were building our moat for 20 years and now it's like being recognized. And I've been really grateful this year that like a lot of the work I've been doing has been recognized. But now, how big can we take it while remaining humble? That is going to be the goal for the next 4 or 5 years. I did not run through the forest with ski poles. That is, I did not do that. It's not obsessive. It's becoming your passion, and that's why we love it. Yeah, well, that's the other thing, dude. I mean, you're right about that, Thomas. I love performing so much, dude. I remember someone asked, like, hey, man, there's like 2,500 people here. Are you nervous? And I'm like, no, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Like, if there were 25,000 people, I don't think I would be nervous. It's just like, because when there was 200 people here, I wasn't nervous either. I was like, oh, 200 people. Let's like give them a good show. So if the number goes up, the energy of giving them a good show still wants to be there. And I genuinely love this, dude. Like, I don't know why I love this, but I love this. Like, I love doing this. Like, you know, you talk to software engineer. I was talking to a Palantir software engineer the other day. His name is Kevin Mark. I'll have an interview coming up. He codes like 20 hours a day, like literally. Like, he's just like, I was like, what do you do for fun? He looked me dead in the face like, Amit, like, I know it's hard to believe. I mean, he's been at Palantir for like 8 years now. He's like, I'm like, dude, when you come home and when you close your laptop and you're like, he's like, Amit, I'm telling you, you're not going to believe me, but I don't close my laptop. Like, I don't just sit at home and watch Netflix. Like, I am constantly coding. I am working on Palantir stuff constantly. Because he loves it, dude. And I think that interview is going to be so special for you guys to see. When you have a motherfucker like that, that's like just working constantly, it's like, how is Palantir going to lose, dude? When you have those type of, and why, when I asked him why, you'll see in the interview, he's like, the mission really matters. He was like, this is the mission. This is the mission. So, you know, when you have someone like that is just so deeply ingrained in the mission, and they love what they do, then they stay. And then I think that's the same for me when it comes to content creation. Like, I really love this shit. I love putting on a show every morning. I love condensing so many amounts of data. I love, you know, adding some humor, entertainment value. I love like having the energy every morning to be that wake up boost for people to you know, get ready and started with their day. And I love all the elements of content creation. I don't know where it can go. I think there's a lot of different angles it can go over the next decade, but this core moat of this show and developing it and making it real. One day, maybe there's 10,000 people watching, who knows? That is something I love. And that's something that I think when you love it, it's hard to fucking imagine doing anything else. It's really fucking hard. This is what CodeStrap was telling me last night as well. You know, I was having drinks with CodeStrap, and he was just like, and he's right. In 2022, he told me to go all in on content. He was just like, dude, you can do content. And then it was really funny because we met, and obviously he's seen, you know, the brand grow. And he's just like, what I fucking tell you. I was like, you're right, dude. He told me live on Palantir Weekly. He was like, Amit, you need to like keep doing content. It's like, you know what you're doing. And there's no rules to it, right? Like when he said, hey, go become like a really big content creator, there was no rules. It was just like, okay, code strap, I'll do that. And then you kind of just like figure out what the fuck to do. And what I did, honestly, because the stock was at $8 at the time, is I kept talking about Palantir. And that's how we developed the foundation. Because that was what people cared about. That's what mattered at the time. And now that's why we're here. Eric says, I knew Amit was a high quality person when he shoveled the driveway for an elderly neighbor and wouldn't accept offer of a payment. Wow, I'm surprised you understand that. You remember that story, Eric. Damn. Robinhood's over 22. Yeah, Robinhood back to 22. This is a story I told a while ago. See, I'm happy you remember that story, bro. That means that story maybe stuck with you guys. My neighbor, who was a pretty old guy, his name was Alex. I believe he passed away a couple years ago at our old place, but he was like probably like 84. It was snowing heavy. I was shoveling outside. This is when I was like 15 years old. And while I was shoveling, he came out and he said, young man, do you mind like helping me around here? And I said, yeah, no problem. And so I started shoveling his shit. And then he comes out with some money. And he's like, thank you for doing this. And I was like, no, like this, I'm not taking money from you. I'm not like this. I just did this because you're a neighbor, right? Like you're a good guy. I didn't know my mom was watching this whole thing happen. She was like outside watching me, like literally shovel his snow and like reject his money. And I came in and she gave me a big hug and she was like, I raised you right. Because it's about what you do when no one's looking, right? Like that's where your character is. What do you do when no one's looking? And like easily at 15, I'm broke, $10, $20 sounds like a great amount of money after breaking my back doing all the shoveling. But in that moment, I was like, no, dude, I'm not taking money from an elderly man just to help you shovel your snow. And that's the level of gratitude I think my mom put in me at a very young age. You guys remember the whole Michael Jackson thing, that dream that I had when I did the Michael Jackson talent show, or when I did Billie Jean at the talent show in 7th grade, I won first place and I won $100. This is 2012. I wanted to buy some sneakers with that $100 and I was really excited to get that $100, right? You get it for $100. That's good money. And then the tsunami happened in Japan of 2012, if I'm not wrong. Japanese tsunami. Yep, Japan 2012 March tsunami. And 7.3 magnitude in Sanriku, in the city of Sanriku. Or it was 2011. It was 2011. Yeah, that's when I was in 7th grade. March 11th, it happened. My school started having a fundraiser for the tsunami because it was a really big deal, if you remember, in 2011. And it was the talent show was the day before the tsunami. I got the $100, and then the tsunami happens, and I go up the next morning to class. My Latin teacher, Miss Geronda, she's like organizing this fundraiser because it was really bad, dude. People like a lot of people died. Like Japan was in a bad situation. And I look at the money, and I go up to her and I give her the envelope. And Miss Geronda's like, "Didn't you win this from the talent show?" I was like, "Yeah, but here you go." And she just smiled at that moment. And like, it's like those are pivotal fucking moments in life, because it's like, those are the moments where you actually shape your character, right? Like they're like, do I really need to care about people in Japan at 14 years old? Like, no, I don't. Like, it doesn't affect me, doesn't affect my life. It's not, I don't know what's happening at that age. I don't think you have the expectations on having a conscious child who cares about donating money to these causes and stuff. But at that moment, I was like, do I really need a new pair of sneakers, or do these kids in Japan, that are getting like they're losing their, homes, do they need this more than me? And I think those were pivotal moments. But I want that same ethos to exist with content creation, which is no matter how big the brand grows, do you give more than you take? And I think ironically, giving more than you take leads to more good stuff happening over time. But you have to do it with a genuine intention. I didn't think giving that $100 to the kids in Japan would like do anything for me. But little did I know, it actually like developed my personality into someone who like just cares more about people. And that doesn't mean I'm not like selfish in certain instances, and I don't have my own, biases, and I care about myself as well. But that means like in a situation where it's me versus someone else. I mean, I sound like I'm bragging now, but I did that the other day, dude. I was at Dunkin' Donuts. There was a guy there. It was a Saturday morning. I was going to get some coffee. And the guy's like, hey, young man, can I like borrow $2? And I was like, dude, come on, I'll just get you breakfast. And I bought him a coffee, bought him some donuts. And like, I don't talk about this stuff, but like, I'm bringing it up right now because I'm on this whole story thing. I did that last week because I was like, if I can afford to get a coffee, I can afford to get this guy a fucking donut. Like, it's like, who am I to be like, no, go get your own $2, like, fuck you. Like I can't imagine me doing that. So I don't know. I guess that's just how I am. And then we got Kris here saying I would have took the money. Did a few more driveways with a shovel, use the money to buy a motorized snowblower and turn it into a side business. Chris Patel is what we call a mercenary, folks. He's going to find a way to make his money. Wow, the chat's agreeing with him. You guys are like, yep, I'm going to get some. Yeah, like get rid of all this sentimental shit. We're taking the money. We are taking the money. Das Brew Crew, thank you for the $20 super chat. No need for an explanation, bro. You're the GOAT. You do what you do, and people eat it up. You keep serving that dish, man. You're the real MVP for the masses. Dude, I appreciate you, man. I really do. At this point, words don't even, words can't even explain my gratitude at this point, dude. It's like, it's just fucking, I'm just very appreciative that people are enjoying the content. People are enjoying the momentum. These are moments where I think it's important to reflect on it after an event like AIPCon, but this is not stuff we should reflect on every day because it's just continuing the grind, continue the momentum, keep growing, keep this shit going to a different level. And I like these milestones for you guys because in a way, you guys have been on this journey for so long, right? So when you see the carp video, it means something to you because you've invested a lot of time in me, just like time and energy. And so seeing me hit new milestones kind of makes you feel like, oh, like this is like fun to be part of this journey in a way and watch the momentum. And so the milestones mean a lot for me to show you guys because you guys get to be the ones who get to enjoy in the fun of it. And I think, in the words of Carp, I hate saying this, but it's true. It's like, we're just getting started. Like, we're really just getting started. This has only been 2 years into the journey. And it's like, if this is just getting started, then where is this going to go? I don't know. But life is about, really fucking going for it sometimes. And if you have the opportunity to go for it, if you can remain humble and authentic during that time, I think that's really, 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 really important. Player One, thank you for the $5 super chat. I see it right here. Good job, buddy. We are proud of you. Player, thank you for the $5 super chat. Leafy, thank you for becoming a channel member. Really appreciate that as well. Joseph Francisco, $4.99. Thank you for the super chat. Protect the cats and dogs. Dude, I gotta tell you guys a joke. My friend texted me yesterday. This is so off topic. But so there's this girl my friend likes, and I know the girl for some reason. And he said, hey, Amit, I need you to send her something. And I was like, what? And he said this shit. I don't agree with what he said, okay? So this is not an endorsement of what he said. But he said, you need to send her this. And I'm like, all right, well, what is it? He said, Amit, you need to text her because I have her phone number or whatever. He doesn't have a phone. Dude, I don't even know why he likes her. Like, I don't know how I think he saw a picture of her and he's like, she's the most beautiful girl in the world. I was like, okay. And I was like simping for her. But he said, again, I don't agree with what he said, but he said, you need to send her this. Where is it, dude? He said, it was so bad, dude. He said, okay. He said, all right. I don't agree with what he said. Okay. But he said to tell her this. Is he in the chat right now? He's not in the chat. I'm not going to say his name, but he said, you need to tell her, they call me a Haitian from Ohio the way I eat the cat. He said that, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm fucking done. I am done. I'm never talking to you again. I'm done. I'm definitely not sending that to her. I'm definitely like, when he said that, I was like, all right, buddy, we got to go. We got to stop this. We got to stop. That's crazy. I saw that was right before I went on stage at AIPCon. I looked at that comment and I was like, I cannot believe he just told me to say that. Yeah, that was the I'm a head out moment. That's it. But it was funny, dude. It was funny. I was like, there's no way you came up with that. You're not original enough to come up with that. No way, dude. You had to you stole that from somewhere. Well, that's funny. That was a funny one. Stock market news. Evan, what's up with you? Shout out to Evan as well, dude. Evan has been awesome on Twitter. He gave us a platform for the Twitter Spaces for me, Chad, and Ileano to do an AIPCon preview. So shout out to you, Evan. Thanks for being here. Is Chris still talking about his snow business? Is Kris really doing math right now? 5 drive-throughs a day with the shovel at 10 equals 50. 5 days with the shovel 250. Snowblower costs 250 with a snowblower 20 drivers a day. Kris is a business guy. That's it. Kris is a business guy. And now Kris is an Nvidia guy. Kris, you're going to have to come on the channel again, and we're going to have to really talk about Nvidia at a deeper level. Because people want to know more about why you did the pivot. Palantir at 35.59, so Palantir's doing okay. Wow, Robin at 22.11, S&P at 561. So the 1030 sell-off kind of came and went so far, and markets are still doing what they're doing. And we have some run. We're having a little bit of run. I just hope we can hold up the momentum, dude. I just hope we avoid the recession. And if we do, I think we end the year really strong. And next year, you know, gets to be a year where people can at least take some chips off the table and then decide to redeploy capital in different areas. Or if next year just continues the bull run, then it keeps compounding, you know? So, but we got to avoid that recession. We got to nail the soft landing. I think it's possible, but we're going to have to really fucking figure it out and see if we can do it. I'm getting a phone call right now from someone. Let's see who is calling me right now. Hello, sir. Oh, wait. Are you connected? Oh, there you are.
What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
Dude, congratulations on AIP and meeting Carp. That is, even though I'm a little bit jealous on the inside, I'm like, you know, it's probably safer for me not to meet the guy because he'll be like, why haven't my death squads got you yet for trying to replace me with as CEO? You know, so
dude,
yeah, but congrats.
Yeah, man, it's been a fun journey. It's been super cool. I thought AIPCon was really cool. Got to meet a lot of people. I think me and Steve should do a podcast eventually on like Nvidia AI and more stuff. But before that, like, why do you think the market reversed yesterday? Like, what happened? Because I have not been paying attention to it. What actually happened to get us to go back to close to all-time high levels?
Well, as you said, there's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines, right? The debate ended pretty okay, and then Kamala, believe it or not, the market's actually going to rally under President Kamala Harris. And I think Kamala Harris is likely to be the one that ends up winning anyway. I know that sounds like really controversial. Some people are like, no, you know, Trump. But, you know, I based on the analysis that I did, there's 2 categories of people to really watch out for. One is like super, like old people. I don't know if you probably have this in your family, but all the old people, all they do is just sit around on couches watching CNN, MSNBC all day long, right? Yeah. So that demographic is now all like more than likely going to be either 2/3 rate voting for Kamala Harris because the media has just been pumping it into their brains, and you know they're going to go with it. Then you have this younger generation that's a lot more idealistic, so they're more than likely going to be vote more Democrat. So you've got 2 main categories of people that are heavily going to be leaning towards Kamala Harris, and then you've got the middle that's basically going to be split evenly between between 50-50. So if you think about it, the traction is on Kamala's side, and Kamala is at the same time probably one of the most corporatist Democrats, where she'll basically like just do whatever the corporations tell her. I mean, we're slowly moving into an oligopoly. Everyone can see it happening, you know, and some people want to deny it, some people want to accept it, but the truth is Kamala Harris is honestly, in my opinion, a puppet. You know, I think she's been put in a place where they've told her, get into office, we'll back you, we'll throw money behind you. All these celebrities, they'll throw their support behind you. You don't even have to worry about creating a policy decision out there. You don't have to put anything out there. Just look, smile, and we'll get you into office. And in exchange, do what we tell you when we tell you, and everything will be all right. And she's like, yeah, I want to be the first female president. Let's go. Like, I don't need to have an opinion. I'm just here for the title. So this is literally like a repeat of Biden 2.0. In which case, if you look at the markets have done pretty well under Biden 2.0, right?
Yeah.
Mainly because all the policies have been pretty favorable to most businesses, you know?
So in Nvidia in a Harris administration, how do you think that benefits?
Well, AI in general is going to be growing exponentially. I honestly thought there was going to be a big slowdown coming in Nvidia and AI in general, but Oracle, like that, the tone at which Oracle came out, really sealed the deal for me. And then also at the same time, Oracle is a lot more entrenched in the enterprise businesses and also with governments. So a lot of people don't realize that. And if there's a couple of videos on CNBC, I'll send them to you, check it out. But Oracle is a lot more entrenched around the world than people think. So if these guys are really digging deep, heavy into it, that means that there's going to be a lot more spend. And now the spend is actually broadening out. So while the hyperscalers were originally the ones that led the way in AI spend, you're starting to see the AI hardware spend broaden out among the tertiary parts of the market. So, in my opinion, that just kind of elongated the growth cycle, maybe another 2 years, 3 years. So if Nvidia grows at 30, 40% clip for the next 3 years, 4 years, that's a lot of money. And at the same time, with their operating margins being what they are and the amount of free cash flow that they have.
Do you think yesterday at that Goldman conference, because it's quite astonishing to me, is it that spontaneous that the market that was like doing as bad as it was 2 weeks ago just hears CEOs talk about AI and they switch their tone? Like, do you think that's like a scapegoat reason and there's something else that happened yesterday that we're not talking about, or is that it?
No, that's it, man. A lot of times the market, people, it's all about trying to understand something. When people finally understand something, they have the right to change their opinion and change their mind and buy into stuff. So you had Nvidia already retrace down from like the 140s down to like the 105, 110s when I started to get in, like around 105 is when I started to buy some calls on it. It's done well since, but that's the thing. You have to be willing to be data dependent on these things. So if the data flips in the other direction, don't be one of those guys. It's like, oh, you know what? I don't care. I'm not a data guy. All I do is buy things and hold on to them forever, regardless of what the macro is telling you. If the macro's changed, if the story's changed, change along with it and you'll be fine. So a lot of CEOs right now and a lot of investors are doing the same thing. I mean, did you see Brad Gertzner?
Yeah.
That's his largest position now.
Yeah.
So all these people that are like, oh, Kris is flipping. No, everyone in the market right now is like, hey, wait a second. Maybe we called Nvidia a little too prematurely. And a lot of people are trying to get in right now. And that's why you're seeing this giant rise in Nvidia in a very short term. So
what do you think the Fed does next week? And is it a sell the news on a rate cut?
No, they're going to cut for sure. The question is it going to be 25 or 50? I want to believe that it'll be a 25 because I think a 50 might spook the markets. But 50 also means that, they don't have to worry as much when it comes to like the next meeting. Because this is the thing that's going to happen. If they cut by 25 and the conditions worse, especially on unemployment, then they're going to have to hit a 50 in November. Right? In which case now the market's already kind of like, oh my God, we're slowing down way too fast. So sometimes it's like, let's just go heavy right out the gates. And I think the 10-year is screaming that to us right now that they're going to do a 50 basis.
So we haven't reinverted, right? On the 10-year and 2-year?
I haven't even checked because it's been like literally right next to each other.
So if we do, like I was hearing some stuff yesterday that if we don't reinvert, that's bullish. But if we reinvert, that's not bullish.
Just check. I mean, I'm not even following the inversion cycle like as much as you would.
Yeah, they're still uninverted. They're still uninverted. Yeah, they're still uninverted.
Right yeah. So it's uninverted right now, but it's like right there on the cusp of, going into inversion versus. Yeah. So I'm not even sure, man. I'm not even sure that that's a good metric to use right now. I know that that's been like one of those things that's like a barometer for recession, and people want to apply that, but we'll see. Everything is very fluid right now. No one's ever had to deal with this pandemic level, issue, and then supply chain and all this. The key that I would just key into people is that right now, for certain that the price interest rates are going down. So plan accordingly. Find companies that have great yields that are going to benefit from lower interest rates. Verizon just hit a 52-week high. See, no one's even talking about that because everyone is focused on Nvidia, which is right. You know, that's how the market is. If you're looking at all these other industries, they're all starting to get to the point where people are chasing yields. So,
dude, how did Amazon get to 188? I feel like that happened overnight. Last time I saw Amazon was 167.
It's a strong business. It's got AI component
Holy
behind
shit.
it and a ton of cash flow. I mean, you know. And they don't have nearly the amount of stink on them that Google does from a regulatory standpoint right now. So,
yeah. Okay. So it seems like markets are trending. What is the one thing that could fuck this run over the next couple months to you?
Deep recession.
But like that would happen from Q3 guidance for Q4 being horrible companies. But then again, at the Goldman conference, Shopify said consumers are spending MasterCards. Like everything that you need people to say and come to fruition is starting to happen, which leads me to believe it's going to be a decent run.
Well, it's something that we spoke about last time. There are parts of the market that are doing extremely well, and then there's other parts of the market that are not doing well. What I mean by that is like the consumer. So the consumer that's most impacted by inflation is not doing well. You know, you're talking about people who are probably the sub $50,000 a year in income. Hold on, give me 1 second. I just got to plug my
very good
laptop in. But basically, people who are sub 50,000 that are renting, that are basically living paycheck to paycheck, those people are in a really bad place. On the other hand, people that are literally making $100,000 a year, bought their own houses pre-COVID, and were able to refinance at, you know, like 2.75%. They're not feeling much in terms of inflation. Yeah, I mean, they'll have to pay a little bit more at the restaurants and at the groceries, but that's not a major component to their lifestyle, you know? So they're continuing to spend. That's why you're looking at travel right now. Travel, a lot of people are saying, well, if we're getting a recession, that means that people are going to be traveling less. But if you look at the data is actually saying that certain industries that cater to like the wealthier clientele, they're doing extremely well, you know? So if you go to like Peter Luger's in New York City, like you did last time, did you see an empty seat in the house?
Nope.
So tell me how the economy's weak then, if that's the case. You know, I'm sure you went to this places when you were in AIPCon. Did you see any weakness in spending by the consumer?
People are absolutely spending. I just feel like, am I in a bubble that people are spending? And the Dollar Tree earnings shows us that sub 50 income person you talked about is not spending. But then the question is, do they cause the recession? And I don't know.
I mean, I don't necessarily think so. I mean, the other part is spending enough to make up the difference. The thing is, though, some things have to crack and normalize in order for like everyone else to catch up. So housing needs to come down, right? So price of homes would be nice if they started to, even if they just stayed flat for another like 3-4 years, that would really help out a lot of people at the bottom end of the income spectrum. And then at the same time, lower interest rates will help out as well, because a lot of people at that level are heavily indebted. So the amount of money that they pay for debt servicing is relatively high as well. So the key right now is with lower interest rates, they will benefit, in which case now the category of people that are struggling are gonna get a boost in some parts of their spending next year, because there'll be more credit available for them to spend. But then also you kind of need wage increases as well. That's the major problem that the Fed is dealing with, because unemployment is steadily rising, but it's rising at that level more than it is at the specialized level. Like I still, like my hospital right now, we're still looking for nurses. We're still looking for, x-ray techs. We're still looking for people to come and work, and we can't find people. But if you go to other places that, that didn't require a college degree, that are more like, line service jobs at the lower levels, those are the areas that I think are weakening right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree, dude. I guess we'll see. It seems like the AI demand is real. Fed should be cutting, and now we just got to see how it plays out over the next couple months after the election as well.
Yeah. No, there's definitely tremendous opportunities out there outside of just the AI hype stocks right now. And I encourage people to start looking at those things, because I think look at IWM today.
Yeah.
And IWM's rallying. So it goes to show that the market, in my opinion, now is starting to broaden out a little bit. The rally is going to broaden out. So there's definitely going to be money moving out of mega caps a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. And it's going to be in search of value plays. And a lot of value plays actually exist in the small cap space. So like I said, I'm positioning my portfolio next year to capture the upside from that rotation, and I think Tom Lee has said something very similar for the last time he spoke about it, which was that IWM has this elongated cycle of capital inflows that's coming. So,
yeah, and oil going down helps everything. I mean, makes input costs cheaper, all that stuff. So,
yeah, and it really helps the lower end of the consumer, just like we were just saying before. So a lot of the negative impacts of inflation have primarily impacted those people the most. And I think Jerome Powell keeps saying that on his calls too. If you listen to it, he's like, inflation impacts those that are the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
So, like I said, a lot of people are in a good place in terms of the economy. They work specialized jobs. They have low interest mortgages, that are not going anywhere. There isn't nearly enough of a credit problem right now. So I think those people are doing fine, in which case they can actually spend enough money to keep the economy going. So as of right now, it looks like we are going to get a soft landing, but that soft landing might mean that you're going to see a rotation from one part of the market to the other. So you might see, like, next year, maybe a little bit of flatness in the S&P 500, and you might see a little bit of growth in the Russell. So the Russell might outperform the S&P. Right. It happens rarely, but it does happen. So.
All right, Kris, I'll call you after this. I'll talk to you some more, but thanks for joining, brother.
Yep. Take care, man.
Take
Congrats,
care.
by the way.
Yep. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. All right. That was Christopher Patel about stocks. We went from like an emotional discussion about like my life into the stock market. And I was probably supposed to end the stream at like an hour ago, and then I started ranting, and then Kris called, and so now we're here. But now Palantir's at 35.90, potentially making its way to 36. So can we really end the stream when it's can we really end the stream right here? Oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. So someone said in the chat, hey, is Palantir running too fast? Yeah, of course it's running too fast. I mean, yes, but that doesn't mean it can't keep running. So no, my flight's at 2:30, so I have some time. I have some time for my flight. But I was just gonna like pack up my stuff and all that. So I'll be okay for my flight. But I don't know, dude. It's really interesting. It's running fast, and I agree it's running fast. But the problem is, it could keep running, and price discovery could continue happening. Again, Palantir hasn't been. Wow, Bitcoin almost at 59,000. Holy crap! Where's Robin at? Robin at 2220. We haven't seen Palantir at these levels since 2021, right? So because we haven't seen it at these levels, now it's not a question of like resistance at a certain point. It's a question of how much more is the market eager to buy. Palantir is now over 80 billion in market cap, 80.29 billion. And as the market continues to think there's more, I mean, there are people buying it at 35.86. Who is coughing in his background? Dude, I'm telling you, these walls are thin. Like they probably heard the entire market open so now. So yeah, it's not the best hotel, but no market close because I'll be flying tonight. But we'll be back for Palantir Weekly on Saturday. We'll be back for Palantir Weekly. But the point is, like, look, it doesn't have to. It's running very quick, and it's probably quicker than most runs have happened. But if there's a world in which the market's willing to pay $80 billion for Palantir, then the market's willing to pay that. The reason I'm not like super gung-ho about, oh my God, it's so overvalued, this is horrible, is because I think you have to have a little humility when a stock runs and people are willing to pay these prices and it's a real company, which I think we obviously all believe it's a real company. It's not GameStop, AMC, etc. And you give it the benefit of the doubt of assuming that people are definitely paying an extreme multiple, but they know they're paying an extreme multiple, and therefore multiples can stay extreme. So I think so if someone's like, oh, should I sell? It's like, you could. There's no problem with taking some chips off the table, whatever you want to do. But if you're in this for the long term, I think it's sit back, enjoy the ride. If it comes back down to 25, which is going to be really hard barring a recession, in my opinion, people will buy that dip hand over fist. Unless anything changes with the thesis of the company, that dip gets bought. Like Tesla goes back to 165 tomorrow off really nothing. Like people are going to buy that dip. They like that Tesla's cheap at those prices if you believe in the potential. Same thing for Palantir. And the media attention, I keep stressing this, but as someone in the media, I understand a little bit about media compounding. When you have compounding media effects like Bill Maher, like the New York Times, like AIPCon, it starts to become a domino effect where more and more media wants to cover you. More and more people are interested. It compounds on top of each other. And then more and more people are like, oh, Palantir, that's an AI company. Oh, Karp, cool. Peter Thiel, start going through the rabbit hole. They find my channel, start watching videos, learning more about, I mean, dude, the amount of people that came up to me yesterday at AIPCon and said that I've been watching you for 3 years, it was very humbling. It was really humbling, dude. I mean, there was this Indian lady who works she used to work at Cisco. Now she works somewhere else. And she was like, I've been watching your videos for so long. And there's this one dude from Brazil who's been watching for years. Like people have kept up with the story. People find the content, and that content makes them want to care more about the company, especially if there's content on a daily basis for it. So my point is, I think this story really is just getting started. Is it expensive here? Of course. But the long-term potential of it is there. And that media effect can compound to the point where the stock can hit levels that people didn't think was possible because people want exposure to it. The compounding media flywheel cannot be understated. It's a big deal. Dude, I've experienced it. I've experienced compounding media. When I posted that Vlad interview, you guys remember I told you I got the interview. They sent it to me. And I knew when I posted it, my life was going to change. I knew the day I posted that interview, things were going to change. We probably got to end the stream soon because you probably hear the TV in the background from the other hotel room. That's how thin the walls are. But like I knew at that moment, I was like, oh, so when I post this, like there is going to be a compounding media effect. There's going to be aggressive. And within like hours, it compounds. And so I can only imagine the New York Times, which has more distribution than my Twitter account, or Bill Maher that has millions of people watching his show. You know what I'm saying? When Karp gets on those outlets, like the media pays attention aggressively. And you get one or two of those moments that change your life. Imagine you get 10 of them in a row, which is what's been happening for Karp. S&P 500, AIPCon. He's going to have Bill Maher tonight, New York Times profile essay. It's like the stock going up in general makes people like search for Palantir more. It's one of those things where it can really change the nature of the business trajectory, even if the stock price valuation wise doesn't make a lot of sense. And ultimately, I think, that matters. Yeah, look at this, right? I just did a quick Google trend search on Palantir. So Palantir is now trending on Google search at an 89 level. Last time it was at 89 was February 2024. This is when they had earnings. Remember they had earnings, and this is when the stock went up like 30% after the like fifth quarter GAAP profitability, whatever it was. Oh, the 70% commercial growth quarter. So the stock's getting at levels in terms of Google search analytics to that point. And then let's go all time. Yeah, it really ramped up in 2021, obviously. You guys can see that right there. That's when we had the meme run. Went all the way down in 2023, and now it's making its way back up. So even right here, this is like elementary analysis of people caring about the company. You're starting to see that interest spike up a lot more. And that is important. I'm Beneficial. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I missed a lot because I've been on the clock, but Hood and Palantir both proud of everyone. The journey continues, and thanks for all you do, Amit. Thank you, I'm Beneficial. You've been an OG of the channel, been here for so long. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being here. And thank you for sending me updates all the time. He sends me updates on Robinhood all the time, which is awesome. All right, 35.90. Let me check the resistance on 36. Let me see if we can get there. $36 has 12,000 shares waiting. 12,000 times 36 is $432,000. So, wow, Robinhood's 22.38. Holy crap, dude. We haven't even been looking at Robinhood. Oh my gosh. Goodness gracious, dude. I mean, this makes sense. And the earnings they put up were phenomenal. So now it's just about that, keeping that momentum. 35.94. Oh boy, guys, are we about to do it? Are we about to do it? Are we about to do it? I'm going to buy the share if we get to 35.97. That's my trigger. Then I'll buy the share. Oh my gosh. 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 Let's see. Let's see. 35.95, bro. Get to 35.97, I do it. There's like a couple thousand shares at each cent. And then at 36, there's 13,000 shares. Dude. I mean, look, it's so cool to see the stock run up as well, because after, like, I know it's a bit expensive here. I'm not going to like sugarcoat it, but after coming from AIPCon, I just want to buy more. I just want to have so much. You know that whole, remember I told you guys a couple of days ago, I was like, oh, I'm thinking of this DCA plan of putting $100 into fucking S&P, Dow Jones, and Berkshire Hathaway every single month, right? And then up it up to $200 every month, yada. Now, like after going to the conference, I'm like, dude, I just want to put all of it in Palantir. I was like, all that fucking index diversification. I was like, I just want all of it in Palantir. I know that's like irresponsible to say, but it's just like when you talk to these employees and you're just like, this is not a joke, bro. These guys aren't fucking around. And I know this company is going to be worth more than it is 10 years from now. So why am I like scared, to just keep owning more? So obviously it's a little euphoric. I get it. If the stock falls 10, 20% from here, people will think differently. I get it. I understand that. But it's just, when you experience an AIPCon and you listen to these customers, you hear the employees, you hear the excitement in the room, you see all these people that are just like happy to be associated with Palantir. Like it's a special energy, bro. All right, we got Dougie, who's helping us get to 36. Just bought 100 shares. Shout out to Dougie. If it really does 10x in the next few years, who cares if you got in at 35.50 or 32 or 33? Well, yeah, that's my point. That's my point. If it really does 10x in the next 10 years and it's a $300 stock, then yeah, I mean, it really doesn't matter if you got it at 30. It doesn't matter if you got it at 27. Like it's at the end of the day. It's at the end of the day, just something that will continue to grow. Okay, my phone died, so I need to charge my phone. And let me plug this in just in case. Kin SWE, thank you for the $20 super sticker. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. You guys really don't have to send all these super chats, but I appreciate it a lot. Thank you for the $20 super sticker. I appreciate you guys a lot. You are helping me pay for all these Ubers. Uber prices haven't been that crazy this weekend though. Usually they're a bit crazier, but they haven't been too bad. All right, hold on. Let me charge my phone real quick. Actually, let's do. Well, no, I was gonna play a video, but let's just stare at Palantir go up. Hopefully, let's just hopefully see this thing go up. Continue to go up. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I did some Lyft too. Lyft's was okay, but Uber prices were actually better than Lyft. Uber prices were better than Lyft. 40K subs later, Mitt's phone still dying every day. Oh my god, 35.98. Guys, my phone is legit. Like, yeah, I need to like buy the share, but it's like I need my phone to turn on so I can actually buy the share on Robinhood. Like literally, it's like it should charge soon. Hopefully the electricity doesn't suck at the hotel. MSTR, where's MSTR right now? MSTR, well, Bitcoin's up right now, right? So MSTR, yeah, 7%. There you go. Where's Hood? Palantir 35.95. Hood 22.34. IWM's up 2% on the day. Amazon, dude, I did not see Amazon in the 180s. It's been so long since Amazon was there. But Amazon now in the 180s. Just ask Vlad to do it for you. You guys are funny. Funny. You're as addicted as the rest of us. You need to get in the shower and get ready to go, dude. Silly bunt is correct. I really do need to shower and get ready. Don't I have to check out of here at some time? I have to check out. When's the hotel checkout time? Usually it's 11, right? So I have to check out of here soon as well. Dude, Amazon at 187. Amazon was stuck at 165 for so long. Up 4.5% on Celsius feels good until I remember I'm down 70%. Doug, I didn't know you were into Celsius, bro. I didn't know you were a Celsius guy. One of the guys I talked to was fucking Kevin, who's so deep into Celsius, drank like 7 in a day. These Palantir employees love Celsius, bro. Just stream from the shower. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. One day we have to do that. Oh, yeah, the Dumb Money live stream YouTube channel. So these guys, Dumb Money, shout out to them. You guys probably know them on YouTube. They're going to talk about Palantir today. Dumb Money, if you just search that up on YouTube, they're going to be talking about Palantir. It's their favorite AI stock. That's the title of it. These guys are like really rich. I had a chance. Kris Camillo, actually. So Kris Camillo, one of the guys, he got me into a private deal a couple months ago. I think I told you that story. I called him up and I was like, hey, dude, you think I should put some money in this? And he was like, I'm putting $1 million into this. And I was like, all right, fuck it. And I wired him $10,000. I was like, I hope you're right, Kris. Your $1 million better be right here. And then Dave Hansen, I hosted one of the Robinhood earnings with him. He was actually a seed investor in Robinhood, but he sold out after like Series A, Series B. So super cool guys, but they're going to be talking about Palantir today as well, which will be cool. You guys can probably hear the TV in the background from the other. Yeah, you guys can probably hear the TV in the background. Yeah, I think it's time to go, guys. I think it's time to go. I don't know if we hit 36, dude. I hope we hit 36. We're going to have to see if that happens. A little bit of resistance. Bitcoin right now is going up to 59,229 as well. Oh, man, there's 20,000 shares, right? Oh, we're here. Okay, I'm buying a share. Fuck it. I did it. I'm buying a share. 35. Let's see where it fills. 35.99. I got 35.99, folks. I got 35.99. My phone opened right in time. 35.99. Is that enough? Dude, can we get it there? Is that enough? Is that enough? We'll see if that's enough. We'll see. It's stuck at 35.99. Oh, fuck, it's still stuck at 35.99. All right, guys, we'll see what happens. I think I got to end the stream. It's done. It's time. But we had the one share. Hopefully it gets to 36. That's the made. I don't think that's the made, bro. I don't think that's the made. Did it hit 36? I didn't see the 36. I didn't see 36. I don't think it hit it. It hit 36.01. Oh, no, you're right. It did hit 36.01. I didn't see it. It didn't like stay there long enough for me to see it, but it did get there. Damn, I didn't see it. You're right, though. It did hit for like a second, dude. I guess it wasn't enough for Webull to show it, but it did hit for like a second. Less than 1 second, I think, right? Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we hit 36. We did hit 36. So even if it was for a second, I do see on Webull, you guys can see that right there, right? 36.01. There we go. We hit it. I think I bought the share like 2 seconds before we hit 36, and then we got to 36 for a millisecond. That was crazy. My phone charged right on time to do that. Robinhood showed 36. I didn't see it on Robinhood. That's weird. I didn't see it on Robinhood. Is it in the 52-week high? Oh, no, you're right. Look, it is in the 52-week high. Look at that. It is in the 52-week high. Right there. You guys see it? New 52-week high, 36. So we did it. We hit 36. It was for like 2 seconds, but we did it. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. I would like to say a lot more, but we've been talking for 3 hours, and I'm pretty sure they're going to break down this door if I keep talking so loud because they're probably tired of me talking so much. But thank you guys. I love you so much. Means the absolute world to me. This was a great, great experience. Crazy, crazy event. We'll talk more about it later. We don't have the cowbell. If I brought the cowbell here, I might be dead already if I rang that cowbell. And yeah, let's just keep going. Let's keep doing what we got to do. Let's keep working. Let's keep grinding. You're getting kicked out, dude. They've got to be so mad. It is what it is. Fuck it. I don't care, dude. We have to go live today. And I'll see you guys on Saturday. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for keeping up with everything. Thank you for keeping up with the channel. Thank you for being part of the journey. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying the process of being in the moment. And I really do think we're just beginning. I really just do think we're just beginning. And I think Palantir is in good hands. It's leadership. It's real management that cares about the company. They care about shareholders. And regardless of what happens to the stock, I think it's going to be a story for the next decade that's going to be exciting. And we'll see how we can keep building as we go through this journey. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. I'll be back Saturday night with Arnie for Palantir Weekly. Love you all. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Good night. Bye, everyone.